Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Jets Radio. This is one of your hosts, Tyson Roush, and we're almost there. We are almost at free agency. We're about a week away, so there's a ton to talk about. We got rumors, we got all kinds of nonsense stories, non-stories, who knows what. So let me introduce the man of the people, Long Beach Joe. What's up, man?
What's going on, Ty? Man, it's good to be back. I want to thank everyone that was, hit me up, whether it be in the DMs or, in my feed, on my timeline, whatever, asking if I was all right. I'm good. I have to take care of what I got to take care of. But, you guys held it down. Shout out to, Prime Time as well. I heard his intro. It was decent. You know what I'm saying? It was pretty decent. So shout out to him. It was all right. But, listen, I'm ready to get into it. So listen, I'm the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote our Facebook page. Everyone, go to Facebook, search Let's Talk Jets Radio. Like that page. Our content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message us. We'll message you right back. We love going back and forth with folks about this football team. Also, leave us some feedback. We love hearing about what you folks think we do here at Let's Talk Jets Radio. So without further ado, Ty, let's go ahead and get into the show, man. I'm fired up.
Yeah, I'm definitely fired up, too. As always, we're on Instagram and Twitter at Talk Jets Radio. We're on YouTube, Let's Talk Jets Radio. If you want to catch us, if you missed the show, whatever else, and you're trying to figure out where to find us, we're on iTunes, Spreaker, Google Play, Apple Play, all those different, all these different platforms. Our show is actually on YouTube right after we do it, so you can find us pretty much anywhere. Also, check out Let's Talk Mental Health, something me and Primetime are doing. That's on YouTube. And, Joe, we got a lot to talk about. And, there's a lot of rumors, but the one rumor that is not a surprise is the Jets are finally getting rid of Tremaine Johnson, which we've been talking about for probably 6 months now. They saved $3 million. But the topic that comes right after that is this. You have no Tremaine Johnson, Dow Roberts most likely gone, Brian Poole's a free agent, and all of a sudden, all these stories are coming out about how the Jets are interested in spending big money on either James Bradberry or Byron Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, didn't we just go down this path? Like, how many years have we after these corners spent all this money? And I'll let you share your thoughts first, but I'm like, wow, like, of all the things we spending big money on, I didn't think corner was going to be one of them.
Yeah, look, Tremaine Johnson guy needed to be gone. It is what it is. We move on from him to $80 million, but I would not be interested in going, spending big money on the corner. I don't think that's what we should be doing. I can't wait till we get to talking about one thing, because I really got quite a bit of takes on, what I think we should be doing this offseason. But going back into that corner market and overpaying, because that's, kind of how free agency is. You overpay for a guy. Overpaying again at corner after seeing what happens when you do that, I don't think it's something we should be interested in. I'm not saying that those corners are bad. I think Bradbury's a good corner. Other guys a good corner. But we're going to pay them like they're great or elite corners, because that's what happens in free agency. So I don't want to give a boatload of money to a corner at all again in free agency. I could see them being interested in possibly a pass rusher. If one is out there, maybe spending a little bit on a pass rusher as far as, trying to do something for the defense. But, spending that kind of big money on a corner again and going back down that road again, I just wouldn't be interested. I'd rather have us go into the draft and address that need.
Yeah, I mean, if we're staying at the corner position, my first move is I bring back Brian Poole. That's the first move I make.
Yeah.
Then you say, okay, after that, you have Arthur Millette, you have Bless Austin. All last year, all we heard about is how great Greg Williams is. He's so great, he's so great, he's so great. Okay, well, bring back Poole. You bring back other complementary players you can get for $5-6 million a year. Maybe draft a guy, but to spend, say, all this money, you're going to a bidding war for James Bradberry, who had 3 interceptions last year. He's not like this big, huge, shutdown corner we've heard about year in and year out. To spend that, or even Byron Jones, who, they're actually not even scheme fits, if you look more into it. To spend that kind of money is like the things we used to do in the past. Like, this is the same nonsense that gets us in trouble. I'd rather say, let's have faith in Greg Williams. You put those corners there, but the best way to hide those corners, which we've talked about since John Abraham, is a pass rush. If you want to spend money on defense, which I'm not completely sold on doing, Joe, I mean, it's, spend that outside linebacker. Do something else. Like this, I just don't want to overpay for another corner. I really don't, man.
Yeah, I don't either, and that's why I said, to me, I think that's a need that you address in the draft. I don't think you go and spend big money on these guys because, again, in the name of free agency is you're going to overpay. You're going to overpay for guys that are good. You're going to pay them like they're great. And that's not what we should be in the business of, especially when we've seen, the results of investing so heavily in defense and not investing enough within your offense. So I think that should be the point that we should be making this offseason is we really need to invest heavily within our offense and step it up. I understand we have needs there, but again, we came into this year knowing, we came into this offseason knowing that this was going to be more than a 1 or 2 year kind of fix with this team being, built the way it was built by McCagnon. Douglas is trying to undo a lot of things, but going back and bringing in a corner, spending big money on a corner, I think would be a bad way to go.
Yeah, I was shocked. And, Connor Hughes has a pretty good pulse of the team, and he started cranking these things out. And the Jets supposedly are really high on Byron Jones, and I'm like, dude, you could just see it, Joe. I started cringing. I'm like, these, it can all be smoke and mirrors, it can all be rumors, but usually when the story comes out 4 or 5 different times from 4 or 5 different people, that means the Jets are showing interest. And it's like, this is not the path I thought we were going to go down already.
Yeah. Like I said, I wouldn't want to see that happen. I think there's so many needs on this team. Like you said as well, I'd like to see Poole be brought back. That's one guy I'd love to see. But, dude, we need to make sure that we draft at that position and address the other needs that we have on this football team with the rest of our cap money. We shouldn't be paying a corner big-time money. I just don't think that that's the right way to go.
Yeah, and continuing that whole thing, it's like, you hear like the Jets are going to be in a bidding war with the Giants and the Redskins, and a name that I laughed at was the Dolphins. Because, Joe, I said this, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago? I'm like, the Jets have all this cap space, but guess who has more? The Dolphins and Bills. Yeah, and I got lectured by all our followers about I'm negative, I'm always Debbie Downer, I don't know what I'm talking about. And lo and behold, the stories are coming. I'm going to read Connor Hughes' tweet word for word, just because this is how we're going to roll tonight. Jets should have $70 million in cap space when all said and done. Dolphins, like Jets, are looking to rebuild their O-line for soon-to-be drafted quarterback. Dolphins have $88 million in cap space. Tax situation playing in Miami compared to New York will come into play. Jets will have to make up the gap. Guess what, Joe? I wasn't being negative. We were spitting facts.
Yeah. I mean, you could go, anybody can go, and look at cap numbers and see that. Like you said, we were sitting here for a while saying, hey, look, there's other teams that are in, better positions than us, or some teams that are better positioned just from a capital standpoint that are going to be out there as well. And if you're talking about turning things into a bidding war for a corner when you have gigantic holes elsewhere, particularly your offensive side of the football too, that just does not bode well for us. So I don't think I do not think we should be interested in paying a corner big time money with everything else that we have going on with this team.
Yeah, so then you go from the cornerback position to our favorite topic, the offensive line, and the rumor mill is running rampant, and it's the first one we're going to start with because I know your take on this. We talked about this guy at the trade deadline, and now his story is front and center, and that's Trent Williams. And obviously, if healthy, a top left tackle, but he hasn't played in a year, and he had injury concerns before that. But here is where I've been completely deterred, Joe, where I've lost interest. If he wants $20 million a year, I'm out. He wants $19 million a year, I'm out. I'm not making him the highest paid left tackle in football. With that injury concern, with the fact he didn't play last year, there is there's significant risk of bringing him in here at that price tag. I just can't do it, man. And then not even the draft compensation, which is probably, people are saying give a third-round pick. I'm sure the Redskins probably want more than that, but that $20 million a year, Joe, I'm out. I can't pay that much.
Yeah, but I don't think he, first off, anyone that's wondering listen, we should be traded for Trent Williams. I said this a long time ago. You guys go back and listen to old episodes. I've been talking about trading for this guy since the issue started with the Redskins, where he literally came out and said, I'm never going to play for them again. He's been very solid on that stance because of stuff that happened with that medical team, and he feels like, he doesn't want to be there anymore. No issues. I I would absolutely trade for him. The thing is, I don't think he's asking for $20 million a season. What I'm hearing is anywhere between $16 to $18 million. So I think you can rest on that $16 million point because I think he's only making like 12.4 or something right now. So he just wants to bump up an extension. I would do that. I would pay him $16 million per season, and I'd give him a 3 to 4 year deal. Done deal. I think that this is vital for us. We have to get him in here to solidify this left tackle position because that would open up our ability and our options within the draft too. I actually have a plan for the offseason. I was going to wait. I usually try to wait until around the draft to kind of talk about different stuff. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just going to start giving my takes early so that people, can see what's going on in my mind and understand. So you want to hear my offseason plan, Tyson?
Let's do it. You know what, Joe? You're smart to do it now.
Yep.
You know why you should do it now? Because what's going to happen is somehow it's going to be taken down the line anyway and just regurgitated. Yeah. So be ahead of the curve, man.
Okay. That's a shot. I don't know who you're shooting at right now, but at T-Rouse21, you know what I'm saying? Send your issues to him. I don't have any problems with anybody, all right? So here's what I want to do. I'm going to start with Trent Williams, right? We trade for him. I'd give up a third rounder. I think they want from what I've heard, the rumors are a third round and maybe a fifth round pick. I think we'll get the job done. If you can get it done for that, you make the trade, pay him $16 million per. You sign Jack Conklin, give him $16 million per as well. So now you solidified your left tackle and your right tackle. We signed Joe Thuney as well. I think we should go after him.
Where the hell is this money coming from? Are you out of your mind? What is this?
No, I'm not out of my mind.
Nobody told me to wipe out the salary cap?
No, it's not. This is not.
There's no way we're getting all three of these guys. There's a ton of money.
Yes, you can. No, it's not. If you sign Trent and Conklin is $32 million. Then you add another 15 for Thuney. That's only $47 million. We have, if you releasing all these guys, I think we'll have up to somewhere around, I think it's like late 80s, early 90 million or something like that if we make a couple cuts. So signing those two guys is not going to kill us at all. And even if Thuney is not an option for you, because I knew you were going to yell and scream like a fool, you can still go after Glasgow and Connor McGovern. So those are still options there, right? You wouldn't have to pay those guys as much as Thuney. They're not as great as Thuney, but they're solid guys that you can go after. So you can still, go after those guys. But let's say we sign Joe Thuney, right? So we get him. So now you solidify your left tackle, your right tackle, and your left or right guard, whichever one you want to play with Thuney. So now the only thing you'd have to address on the offensive line is center, and let's say we put Thuney on the left guard. So all you have to address is center and your right guard position, okay? I know there's a lot of people that don't feel comfortable with Brian Winters. Okay, fine. I know that there's a lot of people that look at Harrison, who should be our starting center right now, and say, he's all right, he can play, whatever. Okay, so we can address that in the draft. We can address that in the draft picks. So we've made our signings here, right, because I'm looking at this situation, I'm saying we have a franchise quarterback in Sam Darnold who needs help. You look at what he would have to work with this year, it was ridiculous. Our offense was dead last in the league. We're going to have to pay that guy big-time money coming really soon. We need to figure out what he is. We need to figure out what he can do. Because the worst thing you want to do is go into giving him a big deal and you have question marks about him. Because you're going to be tying your franchise to him long term. So we need to figure it out now. We need to invest in the offense now. Last year was supposed to be all about Sam. Didn't necessarily work out that way. This year should absolutely be all about Sam and supercharging this offense. And that's why my plan is going the way it is. So my next move, and I already feel it coming, the calls are coming. People were banging on me last week when I listened to the show. I heard it left, right? So we go into the draft. After I signed, there was 3 offensive linemen. We go into the draft. I pick up the phone, and I call the Cowboys. And I say, listen, do you want Jamal Adams? They're going to say yes. And I'm going to say, okay, well, give me a first-round pick this year, give me a third-round pick this year, give me a second-round pick next year, and give me a fourth-round pick next year. And they're going to give that to me. I have 2 picks in the first round now at 11 and 17. When 11 comes and the guy comes up and he says, who do you want? I'm going to tell them at 11, I'm taking Jerry Jeudy. Draft comes down again to 17. There's a lot of people that feel like Henry Ruggs will still be there at 17. Some people think the Cardinals may take CeeDee Lamb. There's other people that think that the Cardinals are going to have to take an offensive lineman. I believe that because the Cardinals' offensive line is horrific. It's terrible. So there's a chance that Henry Ruggs could still be there. We could draft Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs in the same draft. In the same draft, you have now supercharged your offense. The rest of the picks that we have in the draft, we can still address offensive linemen. If Joe Douglas cannot find a solid offensive lineman in the second and third round, a solid center or guard like everybody else does, in the second and third round to be a starter, he should not be our general manager. We have now supercharged our offensive line. We have now supercharged our offense. If Adam Gase cannot score at least 21 points with Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Le'Veon Bell, Herndon coming back, a brand new offensive line that doesn't have a leak in it, Sam Darnold, he should be fired. Should be fired. All of everything I just said is extremely realistic. None of that is made up at all. That's what we should do. And if you do that, we'll be all right. We can go back and do whatever we need. You can still draft a corner or a pass rusher as well in the mid-rounds because we'll still have more picks. And we have picks for the future as well, second and fifth rounder next year, like I said, or second and fourth rounder, next year off the trade too. And Marcus May can slide into that playmaking safety that we need. That's it. Done deal. And this team is going to be good.
That's interesting.
I'm telling you, that's what we should do. That's what we should do. To the game with Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs on the same team.
Listen, I'm all about getting receivers. I'm all about doing this. I just can't see Trent Williams, Thuney, and Conklin. I just don't see. I just don't see that happening. There's no way.
See how.
The demand for offense. The demand for offensive linemen is so high. There's gonna be bidding wars for at least for Thuney and Conklin.
Okay.
Trent Williams, I think his price tag is gonna scare a lot of people away.
Okay, so like I said, even if you don't get Thuney, if you get Glasgow or Connor McGovern, you'll be all right. So
well, the price tag for them will be less, though. No, Joe, if you go that route, I agree. No, listen, if you go Glasgow, because Glasgow is versatile. To me, Glasgow is a Joe Douglas kind of guy. He can play 3 different positions. That's a versatile guy where I think, if you pay him, whatever he wants, $10 million a year, I'm cool with it. Yeah, but I think if you're going Thuney and Conklin, you're looking at that $15, $16 million a year. Then you're getting, then it gets kind of high. But no, I agree. Listen, I don't think if you want to bring in 3 guys, that are cost of money, I'm cool with it. That you can't be 3 top of the 3 highest paid guys in free agency. That's going to be tough to do.
But I don't see why. Again, we have cap. It's not like it's going to kill us. We have the cap money to do so. But even if you don't sign Joe Thuney, even if we delete him out of the way, like I said, I think that's realistic. We've already been tied to him constantly. There's a reason for that. There's a reason that there's rumors flying about. Like
the Jets are being used as leverage.
Yeah, you're right. But remember when we were tied to Le'Veon Bell for like an entire year? We were tied to him too. So like, there's something to that. But let's say you just remove Thuney all out of the equation. Period. Like I said, even if you go Glasgow or Connor McGovern, you're fine. Still address that need, and you've upgraded from what you had before. Done deal.
No, listen, I'm cool with
all of that. Is realistic. All of that we can do. Dude.
Yeah, I just think, to me, the Trent Williams one. Yeah, I'm just curious to see what the contract is he wants. If he wants that, he wants to be the highest paid left tackle in football, like a 5-year deal. Mm-hmm. Dude, my biggest fear is you give him that, you get a good year, and then we have 3 years of talking about how bad he is, how injured he is, and how we have this $18 million cap hit on our. That's my concern. Because dude, he has an injury history. We don't know what we're getting. He didn't play last year.
Yeah, he didn't play last year because that was his own decision. Listen, Trent is, if you watch him, that dude is a franchise-setting left tackle. I don't have any concerns at all.
Dude, Joe, I watched him in practice. I watched him when we were down in Redskins camp.
I was just about to say that.
I watched him and Leonard. Well, beating Leonard Williams is not a big deal, as we know by now. But Giants, please re-sign him. But I mean, seriously, Giants. I think Leonard Williams is phenomenal. The Giants should definitely get him done. I mean, there's franchise tag him for all I care. Just get him done. But no, that was the matchup everybody watched, was Trent Williams versus Leonard, and the guy was a man amongst boys. He shut down everybody the entire practice. But that was a year and a half ago. So now it's like, all right, what are we getting? What's his mindset? And to me, it's like, listen, you want to give a 3rd-round pick? Fine, give it to him. But then giving him $19 million a year for 5 years and making the highest paid left tackle, I'm like, dude. To me, there's just risk there where it's like, all right, can you get, instead of spending that money, can you get a left tackle at the 11th pick in the draft?
You could get a left tackle. I mean, if there's guys there, if they don't get taken before, you could get a left tackle in the 11th pick of the draft. But are you getting a franchise guy, a proven guy like Trent is?
I'd hope so.
We don't really know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You'd hope so. You've seen Trent dominate guys out there for years. And just because he's, a little bit later in his age, dude, most of the top tackles are in their 30s. Offensive linemen play well, especially really good offensive linemen, play well into their 30s, easily. So I'm not as concerned as everyone else is. That's why I've been screaming about trading for this guy for a long-ass time. Listen,
I'm out.
When you made as many mistakes as we've made drafting, when you've criminally neglected position groups, when you've busted out drafts, this is what happens to you. You have to find a way to solidify positions, and this is the way we're gonna have to do it. I don't want to do this either. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily want to overpay or pay a guy like that type of money unless he's homegrown drafted guy. But guess what? I don't think we really have much of a choice. If you want to really turn this offense around and you want to get it going faster than it would the next 2 to 3 years, you want to solidify that, then you trade and you get this man in here. And you pay him. Like I said, I don't think $19 or $20 million is what he wants, because I think right now the highest paid left tackle is either, I think it's like $16.7 or $17 million or something like that. So I think that $17 million is what he's going to want. 17 is fine. I don't think he's going to get, I don't think he necessarily wants $20 million a year. So I don't have a problem at all. I'd pay him $17, $16 million a year. No issues.
Yeah, so we'll definitely disagree on that. And then I think we both agree on the corner position where it's like, to pay Bradbury or Byron Jones top money in this free agent class, I think is a horrendous idea. I'm sure that, I understand the need of corner. Like I said, our first move is bring back Brian Poole, but other than that, you'll go with these mid-tier guys. Like, we keep talking about, Jet fans are so funny, man. We talked about how great Greg Williams is for 6 months. He can do, smoke and mirrors. He maximizes potential, all that. If that's the case, then keep the guys we have. Bring back Brian Poole. Get a mid-tier corner. And if you want to spend money on defense, which I'm not completely high on to begin with, spend it on pass rusher. Go that route then. If you want to, I see all these Dante Fowler rumors, which it seems like we have this conversation every year about Dante Fowler, and now I'm kind of over it. He finally had a big year in a contract year, but look what he was surrounded by. But, it's like, I don't know, man. I'm hoping a lot of these rumors are just that, because a lot of it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, like I said, signing a corner of that type of money doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I hope that is just a rumor, and that does not come to fruition. But getting a pass rusher in here, I think, is going to be huge for us as well defensively. We've got to get a guy in here. You said it earlier, and I've talked about it in the past as well. We haven't had a pass rusher since John Abraham. That is ridiculous. I remember when we were trying to, we had a Maven in here who was like a situational guy, and we were excited about him. This was years ago. We haven't had anything.
Jason Babin.
Jason Babin. It's like, come on, we've got to get it together. If we can sign a guy, is going to be out there. I know Barrett was out there. There's a couple other names of guys that could be sliding out there as well still. Yet, I think we should, address that if possible. That should be the position group on defense that we should pay, quite a bit for. But again, the draft is still an option too. There's still going to be guys in those mid rounds that if Joe Douglas can find a hit on those guys, that can help us out as well.
Yeah, and it's like you said. To me, it's funny because we're a week away from free agency, or less than a week away, and as usual, the Jets are associated with every friggin' free agent known to man. If the third-string punter becomes available, you have Jets are interested. A kicker from Canada. Oh, Jets have interest. This is what they do because Jets fans are always. Because we are. Jets fans are always desperate, and we always react to everything. But you look at some of the things, and you see rumors where it's like the Jets are showing interest in Jadeveon Clowney. I'm like, that's a horrendous idea. That is a terrible, terrible idea. There's nothing smart about that. I'd be legitimately pissed off they went after him. Because you're going to spend a boatload of money for a guy that you're not going to get the return that we want, where it could be spent elsewhere. It's some of the guys just don't make sense to me. They don't. It's like we know where we are. To me, it's like bring back Jordan Jenkins. That's a guy. And if you want to get a Dante Fowler, I'm not super high on him, but to go after a huge money guy like Jadeveon Clowney Is that where we should be going?
Yeah, no, I don't think we should be going there. But I think at the same time, if you look at a lot of these, things that are being written, you got to realize, where we at. Media capital of the world. People, our beat's going to pick up anything to get clicks. It's no disrespect to some of those guys. Look, I understand you got to do what you got to do to put food on your table. I get it, but not all that stuff, clearly is going to help us. A lot of guys are just writing articles, to kind of throw takes out there, and I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. But you got to kind of see through the fog. There's positions here that are of need. I love Clowney. I think he's a great player, but I don't think he's necessarily what we need. We need a guy. I wouldn't be opposed to Fowler. It depends on how much, we'd have to pay him. But we keep talking about it, we need a pass rusher. If we're going to spend on defense, you need to spend for a pass rusher. You need to spend for a guy that can get to the quarterback. I mean, we constantly talk about, stepping into the NFL, who do you pay? You pay the guy that throws the football. You pay the guy that chases the guy that throws the football. You look at a lot of elite teams around the league, they have pass rushers. They have more. Some of them have more than one. Guys that can just get after you and wreak havoc offensively for you. So, we don't need to do that. Outside of, like I said, if you look outside of our offense, I think pass rush is probably the number one thing on defense that we need to address quickly.
Yeah, and that's the one thing. If you want to take a chance on a pass rusher, that is the one position that can cover so many deficiencies in your defense. Yep. Like a pass rusher overcomes your poor secondary. It overcomes whatever, a blown assignment. It overcomes a lot. And we haven't known that because we haven't had one in 15 years. But, exactly. It's just so interesting to hear all these different stories now and how this is all going about and the Jets' plan. And obviously, we all say the same thing. Offensive line is a priority. Build up the offense. And suddenly, nobody's talking receiver. And it's driving me crazy because, we'll just draft him. Listen, I understand. Yeah. I understand it's a very deep draft class. I understand it completely. Second round, third round, all these different things. But if the whole Robbie Anderson thing is taking an interesting spin because the Jets are now playing the media game along with Robbie, saying, "Hey, you know what? We want him back." He's saying, "I want to come back." So now they're playing that whole, okay, we're going to negotiate through the media game. But the most fascinating thing is if Amari Cooper stays in Dallas, what happens to this free agent market? Because then it's like, who's your top guy? I mean, is it A.J. Green if he's not franchised? Who's your top receiver? It actually could be Robbie. He could be the most highly coveted guy available then.
Yeah, and that's why I wouldn't have any interest in paying him whatsoever. If he's talking about $15 million, no thank you. I've said this 1,000 times. Robbie, I think, is walking into a really soft wide receiver class as far as free agency, and he could really cash out, end up getting into a bidding war, with another team for this guy. There's a lot of teams that already had interest in him before that. I remember the Eagles wanted to trade for him at some point. With McCagnon. I think the Raiders. I personally think he's probably going to end up with the Raiders, to be honest with you. They are extremely interested in him. He's walking out there. He's got a skill set, but he's not a number one. And he really only does one thing well. And we've seen that consistently. He said it himself. The go route is the hardest route to run in the league. I don't necessarily agree with that, but he said it. You know what I mean? So it's like, look, we need to move on from him if he's asking for $15 million a year. No, thank you. He's not a number one. Not at all. That's like $1 million less than Odell Beckham. They're not even in the same class. No, thank you, especially with a deep wide receiver draft. We go wide. We need to figure out a way where we can move around things so that we can get one of those guys in this draft. If you look around the league, guys that have young quarterbacks, these teams, you look at the Texans, you look at the Chiefs, so on and so forth. They went out and got guys for those two quarterbacks to throw to. Mahomes has just a myriad of weapons. You look at Watson. I mean, he's got Hopkins. He's got other guys out there. Will Fuller. He's got guys that can throw to. This is an offense that's ready to go. That's why they score points. We've got to help Sam out, dude. We've got to get him the number one wide receiver. I don't think we've ever. When is the last time we've had a true number one wide receiver that we drafted? Like a true good number one wide receiver that we've drafted.
Santana Moss or Coles?
Maybe Santana Moss, Lavernius Coles, maybe. Is that the last
going
guy
back
that
to
was
Keyshawn?
Yeah, I mean, to really think about this, think about how anemic and archaic we've been offensively. Really think about that. Think about how bad we've been. Think about how we've done the complete opposite of where the league is going. For years, we were investing in the defense constantly, left and right, whether it be free agency or the draft, just pouring everything into defense while the league literally became offensively centered. where they slant rules towards you being able to score. The league is literally offensively slanted. We've done the opposite. We need to turn that around. Put this card in reverse and get going the other way. That's what we need to do. We need to do whatever we can do to help Sam because, hell, we're talking about number one wide receiver. We've been praying for a franchise quarterback for I don't know how long. I don't know how long we've been praying for a guy to be able to step in here and lead us for the next 20 years. If you don't give this guy weapons, he's not going to be able to succeed here. Everybody has, every solid quarterback in the league has something. Hell, even Aaron Rodgers, who's probably one of the greatest quarterbacks of our decade, he's got Adams. They got him other guys. They gave him guys that he could throw to. He can't just succeed with a bunch of bums out there all the time. That's not how it works. You have to get him guys, and we've got to do whatever we can do to help Sam.
Yeah, I think a sleeper destination for Robbie Anderson could be the Carolina Panthers too. Matt Rule is there. He played for him in college. He retweeted him. He loves Cam Newton. That could be. Listen, I'll put nothing past nobody at this point. I mean, you never know. And then you look at wide receivers, and I agree with you. And like, if you don't want to pay Robbie Anderson, I get it. Then it's like explore other options. It looks pretty clear that Sammy Watkins is going to get cut. He's a guy we could explore. I understand the whole draft thing, but I kind of want to bring in another veteran too, especially if Quincy can't come back. I don't want to have Crowder and 3 rookies. I kind of want to have somebody else there to help out a little bit because you just want some reliable targets. I'm more that beast.
Well, I don't. I would like to see us. I will say this. I won't necessarily be against it, but that wouldn't be the way that I would go. We need to get younger at that position. Why would you? I know I've talked to different people. They talk about A.J. Green and all these guys. Look, A.J. was great.
No.
We don't need to. We don't need to be interested in him. Guys talking about trading for Alshon because he might get. I'm not interested in that either.
No.
We need to get younger. No. We need to get younger. Okay, we need to get younger and faster at that position.
Dude, Alshon Jeffrey's a mess, dude. There's nothing about him.
I'm not
care how good a friend he's with Adam Gase. He's a mess.
Okay, look. I'm not trying to disrespect that guy. He's had a great career, Super Bowl champ. I wish him nothing but the best, but he's not what we need. You know what I'm saying? So I would be interested in us draft so full of talent offensively. Justin Jefferson, Brandon Ayuk, Denzel Mims. Like I just talked about Ruggs and Judy, possibly drafting them both. Like there's so many other guys in the draft as well that we could get. Why would you, this draft of all drafts, why would you not fill your roster with these guys? There's no reason not to do this. We need to get younger and faster at that position, and I think Crowder would be the perfect guy to help them come along as well. So, yeah, let's do it. We should get those guys in the draft.
And the last topic before we go to the calls, are you ready to give Jamal Adams $100 million?
Yeah, no. No. Yeah. Absolutely not. Yeah, no. That was a nice soundbite, kick. But no, I'm not giving him $100 million. No, we are not. And when people talk about signing Jamal, I think that there's a lot of emotional responses because he's so, the fan base loves him. He's a great player. And, I can't think of a player in a long time that has had the fan base's heartstrings like him. But we need to start thinking logically about football here. That's what we need to start doing. Listen, we are not in a position to pay a safety $20 million a year. I saw the tweet. It was, 5 years, $100 million. We are not in a position to do that. We're not in a position to do that. We are not. Yeah. Show me the money. Look, I don't take no cash, but I know Jamal. Wants his cash. He's not in a position to do that.
He's not bashful.
We're not in a position to do that.
Dude, his tweet said
at all.
He will not leave $1 on the table. That's what he said.
Yeah. Dude, we're not in a position to do that at all. We are not. Look, I've talked about this, and people, listen, if you don't like what I'm saying about trading him now, if you don't like what I'm saying about being able to don't blame me. Blame Mike McCagnon. Don't blame me. He is a victim of our horrific personnel decisions here. He's a victim of that. And I remember talking about that when I was talking about firing Mike McCagnon. I think it was after year 2 or 3. I said then, and you can go back and listen to the shows, I said then, the mistakes that we make today, we will be paying for tomorrow. I said that.
Yep.
And guess what? We're about to pay for them. This is tomorrow. We're about to pay for them. He's got to go, dude. You cannot pay him $20 million and be horrific everywhere else. Do you understand? Listen, I look at this, and this is what really upsets me the most. There are some fans that have no issues with paying him either $20 million or more than that a season. And I look at them and I go, man, we had the 32nd ranked offense. We had the last ranked offense in the league. Dead last. We were the first team in NFL history to get beat by 2 0-7 teams in the same season. We were the first team in NFL history. That happened this year. How many times this year did we say to ourselves, after a loss, that was the worst loss in franchise history? How many times this year did we come on the show and say that? Listen, he was playing through all of that stuff. We played the Patriots twice this year. They beat us. If you combine those games, right? Combine the score of those games, they beat us 63-14. They beat us 63-14. And one of the TDs was literally a gift. They literally gifted us a TD because one of their backup quarterbacks threw an interception. We got smacked by the Dolphins 26-18. And our offense was horrific. The Dolphins were literally tanking this year. I don't even remember who was on that defense. They were beating us with 3 men.
We got blown out by the Bengals.
We got smacked by the Bengals. Well, they were, 0-11 when we played them, right? They were 0-11 when we played them, I think. We got smacked by the Bengals, quarterback by Andy Dalton. We played the Bills, who put in a practice squad team, and we were struggling offensively. They gifted us a win because they were already in the playoffs. If they had played their starters, they would have beat us by 50 in that game. Our offense is horrific. How can you look at this team that has no wide receivers, no running back depth outside of Bell? I don't know if some of y'all know, but we don't have nobody outside of Le'Veon. We still have to adjust the running back position behind him. No offensive linemen, no pass rushers. We have no corners because Poole is not under contract. How can you look at this team that is completely void of talent in pretty much most of your premium positions and be like, yeah, well, we'll just pay a safety $20 million. We are literally living in the space where you see what happens when you do not make sure that your premium positions are filled. We are living in that space because we've done that for so long. $20 million. We are not in the space to do that. Stop doing that. Stop saying that stuff. And stop saying stuff like, safeties, Troy Polamalu and Ed Reed, they could be your cornerstone. They can win these Super Bowls. Look. Stop saying that stupid stuff. I'm pissed.
Hey, I said that.
Look,
hey, that's my line.
Yeah, I know you said that. And let me, because I listened to last show. First off, shout out to Ponte. Yeah. I hate that. I hated that. Listening to that, I was just, I just wanted to just start the show over again and just jump. Listen, stop saying stuff like that. Let me tell you why you shouldn't say stuff like that.
Jamal.
To a point,
Game breaking.
It's out of context. No, it's out of context. Listen, Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu, great safeties, Hall of Fame guys. Their talent was immense. Dude, they were ridiculous. But did you guys see that Ravens team that Ed Reed was on? Did you guys see, they were good at premium positions? Guys like Peter Boulware was on that defense. He had
Ray Lewis.
He had guys like McAllister, Ray Lewis. They had guys offensively. Did you guys see that Steeler team that Troy Polamalu was on? All the stars they had at premium positions? Did you guys see those guys? It wasn't just, if you put Ed Reed on this team, do you think we would be the same? We'd be bad.
Well, we actually did. Way back when we had Ed Reed, remember?
Stop trying to disrespect that man. Listen, Ed Reed's a great player. He came here later on in his career, But listen, we wouldn't be better. Ed Reed does not block. He doesn't play offensive line. He's not a wide receiver, okay? There are other issues that we would have on this team. We would still be dead offensively. There'd still be issues. He's not a pass rusher. So
you're saying Jamal Adams is not a game-breaking talent?
No, I'm saying Jamal Adams is a great talent, but he's not an all-pro pass rusher. He's not a lockdown corner.
Is he a game-breaking player, though? He beat the Giants by himself.
Well, that's first off, the Giants are trash. Second off, Adams is a great player. He's talented. He's extremely talented. He's one of the best safeties in the league, but he's still a safety. He doesn't play wide receiver. He doesn't play offensive line. He doesn't play other premium positions that we need him to play. That's why safety is so devalued in the NFL.
Yeah, but he's a player on defense that the offense has to account for because he's so versatile.
Yeah. And we were 7-9. We were 7-9 with him. He's been here this entire time. Have we made the playoffs? Exactly. Why
he doesn't play offense.
Why? You're right. I'm not saying you're right. It's not his fault, but guess what? to move on and to get better as a team, build team talent as a whole, we're going to have to get rid of him. We're going to have to. I'm telling you guys that right now. You guys can fight, yell, and scream, but I'm telling you, that's probably what we're going to have to do.
We're fighting.
We're going to have, if you want to turn it around faster, I'm telling you, trade that's fine. You can do that. You can do that. I mean, to each his own. But even when I heard you talking about Revis, like, comparing the situation to Revis was an elite corner. That's a premium position.
No, the comparison was how he's handling the contract, though. The contract situation is almost identical. Revis, the Jets as an organization told us how great Revis was. He's so great. He's the best in the league. Then he wants that money like Jamal does, and then they're going to be like, oh, yeah, we don't want to pay you that. It's the same scenario. They're going to hold out.
Look. Revis
you don't think Jamal's going to hold out?
Position. I hope he doesn't. If he does, it'll make his job easier to trade him. If he holds out, it'll make it so much easier to trade you. Because then the fan base will understand. I mean, like I said, I just talked about it. I think we should trade him either way. But if he holds out, it'll be much easier to sell it to the fan base to trade him. Much easier. Why do you think they were exploring options to move him before the trade deadline? Him, Le'Veon Bell, Robbie Anderson. Why do you think that was?
But see, Joe, do you agree that the Jets put themselves in this situation by saying they want to make him a Jet for life? Because they say, we want to make you a Jet for life, and he says, I'll leave no money on the table. They're basically, they open themselves to all of this now.
Well, here's the thing is, what else were they supposed to say, Tyson? Were they supposed to say, oh, well, we're thinking about, we're wondering about, if you want to trade this guy, it works both ways. Right? If you want to trade this guy, talking about, hey, we want to make you a Jet for life. We want to keep you guys. It's going to keep the offers up. Why are we talking about trading for Trent Williams, who's a franchise-changing left tackle? Why are we talking about only giving away a third-rounder for him? Because we know he's never going to play for the Redskins again. They have no leverage. He's already publicly come out and said, I will never play for you again. He sat out the entire season. So if you don't want to have those issues, you're going to keep up the front. It's good negotiations, good business tactics. Oh, yeah, we want to make you a Jet for life. Oh, yeah. But they're behind the scenes, they're looking to get rid of him. Still, oh, yeah, Jet for life. He's going to be here for forever. And then guess what? If you can't get rid of him or you don't get the value that you want back and you say, oh, well, I guess we can keep it. If they decide to keep him, it makes it easier to re-sign him. Unless he asks for something just ridiculous out of crazy or you just cannot get rid of him, you can't do anything, then, hey, you just keep him until you can. And that's it. There's no reason for them to say anything other than that. Anything other than we want you to keep a Jet for life. It's good all the way around. Now, does that mean that that's necessarily going to happen? No. Doesn't mean that at all. But keeping up the front is good business tactics, and I think I commend Joe Douglas for that.
Yeah, what's going to happen is they're going to make an offer to him. He can be like, that offer's nowhere near what I want, but you want to make me a Jet for life, but you don't want to pay me. That's what's going to happen. This is also predictable. It's ridiculous. Dude. Instead of saying we want to make you a Jet for life, we say we think Jamal could be a corner piece. We'll evaluate our roster and see what we can offer him going forward. That's it. You don't have to commit to anything. Say we're going to do what's best for the team. That's it.
Listen, if you do something like that.
He's playing the media game perfectly now. He has everybody in an uproar. I'm not leaving $1 on the table. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I want $100 million. And his goal is to be the highest paid player in the history of the organization. That's his goal. That's what he wants. It's obvious.
And that would be crazy.
That's what he wants. I get that's exactly what he wants. He wants to be the highest paid player in the history of the organization.
And that's fine. And you know what? I wish him nothing but the best, and he will be one of the highest paid safeties somewhere else. That's it. He will be one of the highest paid safety players. So one of the highest paid players somewhere else. Not here. We have no business doing that at all. No business.
All whatsoever. Right. What we're going to do, 929-477-2651. We went lower than usual because Joe was away last week and me and Kevin played. We just went to the hills. Joe, you know what? I even had the best part of last week. I was waiting for your feedback on this. The best part of last week, I had callers admitting they had faith in Adam Gase. I'm like, well, listen. I'm like, if the offensive line is better, do you think the team would be better? Like, could they make a run at the playoffs? Everybody's like, yes. And I'm like, well, if they're making a run at the playoffs, that means you believe in Adam Gase. And they're like, well, kind of, I guess. Like, dude, by the end of the show, I was like, wait, we're supporting Adam Gase now. This was great.
Well, listen, first off, again, shout out to everybody that called last week. Look, I think, and again, even going back to off-season plans, yeah, exactly. I wasn't even going to mention how you just put them in the spin cycle. But if you look at my off-season plan and what I said earlier, it does two things, right? For me, it puts Sam Darnold in a situation where you can see what this dude is, what his ceiling is, how special he is. It also puts pressure on Adam Gase to be something. And if he's not that, then you fire his ass as soon as possible. As soon as possible. Get rid of him. Because there's no more excuses. Zero. I talked about this when we hired Adam Gase. Adam Gase is not a guy that can take his scheme and make it fit players' skill sets. We've seen it this year with Le'Veon Bell. He's the only guy I've ever heard say that, well, according to media reports, okay, he's the only guy that seems not to understand how to utilize Le'Veon Bell's skill set. You watch the games, he's the only guy. The only guy. I don't think that Andy Reid, I don't think the Steelers offensive coordinators, hell, if we gave him to the Eagles, Dougie Peterson, all these guys will understand what Le'Veon does and be able to utilize that. The only person that can't do that is Adams. Adam Gase, he's the only one that cannot do that. He's the only one that can't take his scheme and fit it to a player's skill set to make the player better. He's the only one that can't utilize players' talents and what they do well. He's the only one that can't do that. He's the only offensive genius that cannot do that. So, look, I understand some fans, you spun them and talk about having faith in Adam Gase, but I think that what they were trying to say is that if you upgrade the offensive line, and I'm trying to help everybody out.
Come on, man.
If you upgrade the offensive, no, because I got a feeling you worked them over. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I listened. I heard you worked them over, but if you upgrade the offensive line, then by sheer talent, you need to stop. Just by sheer talent, then the offense should be better overall. Okay, the offense should be better overall if you upgrade the talent, just by talent-wise. But that doesn't mean that the play caller gets better.
Like my father always said, when the cat is away, the mice will play. And the mice, we had field day last week. We had a blast last week.
Come on, man. So look, I listen, and you were out of control, man. You were out of control, and Prime Time was solid. Prime Time did his thing, but. Man, somebody's got to keep an eye on you, dude. They just can't let you get at the people like that.
So we're going to go 929-477-2651. Check us out at Talk Jets Radio on Instagram and Twitter. Let's Talk Jets on YouTube and Facebook. And we are going to go to Mr. Tyrone. What's up, man?
What's going on, gentlemen? How you guys doing today? Welcome back, Big Joe.
What's going on, man? It's good to hear from you.
Got a question for you, Joe. You said that when Baltimore won the championship, they had a good offense. Do you remember who that quarterback was when they won that Super Bowl?
Yeah, wasn't it Dilfer? It was Dilfer, right?
It was Trent Dilfer, exactly. The worst quarterback in God's earth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that team was so good, Joe. They were like, look, just give me 3 points, man, and we got this. Their defense almost scored more points than their offense. So but I wanted to say this right here. I understand what you're saying, Joe, but if we can give him...
Okay, go ahead. I'll let you finish. Yeah, first off, I want to thank you for calling. First off, I want to thank you for calling in. Look, let me address that. You're right. They did have Trent Dilfer. Hold on. They did have Trent Dilfer. Yeah, he was a trash QB. But, they had a solid running back. They had an offense that can output stuff. We don't have anything. We are bad. Our offense was ranked dead last in the NFL. So if you like you said as well, if you look at the defense, they were good at premium positions. Who's our star corners? Who's our pass rusher?
Joe, can I ask you a question? But Joe, I want to ask you a question though. Like this is my whole point right here, man. I was just saying that because I wanted to say that they had a great defense. What I wanted to say is this though, man. Like we're going to improve this team. It depends on what Joe Douglas does, but we're going to improve this team. We're going to improve our offensive line. We're going to improve our running backs. We're going to improve our receivers. You know what I'm saying? But this is a deep draft. What receivers? Like for me, for Robbie, I think the market's going to die down. I think we might get Robbie back for like 11.5, 12. I get Robbie 12. I'm happy with that. Love to have him back. You know what I'm saying? My Trent Williams from Washington. 15, 16, no problem. 20, stay where you at, bro. No problem. Glasgow and Tooney. I really don't want Tooney, man. I don't want to give him that kind of money, and I'm very leery of Patriot players once they leave New England, how they kind of struggle. So I'm kind of nervous about that. But I think that in this draft, man, we're going to be able to get a lot of capital for what we need. So finding the cornerback, I think, but everyone's saying that we're in all the conversations. We have to be. You have to have people think you have interest, so you can get and miss. It's always going to be misdirection. The one thing I will say about Joe Douglas, he don't look like the kind of guy that's dumb enough to tell you what he's really going to do. So I just think that with our media, they just find a way to just keep something going, just to, because they suck at what they do.
Well, look, like I said, I think that when you look at this situation, guys being linked to us constantly, like you said, I think it's just clickbait. Guys want to get their clicks. But I also think that some of those guys we could use. We could use, like you said, Trent Williams is a guy that we're linked to, and constantly there's articles left and right. We should be, we should be after those guys. We should be after those guys. We need offensive linemen. We need some of the players that they're talking about. But there's guys that we are linked to as well. You look at Bradbury, Jones, corners. They're talking about we're going to pay big-time money, in the offseason for that. What are your thoughts about that, man?
I think it's a joke. Like I said, I don't think we're going to make that mistake again. I think that we'll be in the cornerback market, but I don't think we'll be going for those guys. And one thing about Trent Williams, I want to tell you a Trent Williams story. When we were at the Redskins and Jets training camp, right? You know why I gained more respect for Trent Williams than anything else in the world? This dude is a straight savage, bro. He tried to fight the coaches on the sideline, our coaches. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, they had to walk him off. They had to walk him off the field. This dude is a monster. You know when that fight broke out at that training camp? Because they was kicking our butts that whole day, bro. He was manhandling.
Remember they did the bell drill. They did a bell drill. It was him against Leonard Williams and Henry Anderson. All these guys, one by one.
I was just
mowing every one of them.
Tyson, I was just bringing that up. When I say he manhandled Leonard Williams, like it's like a grown man to a little child. So I mean, I think Joe Douglas. I think he's definitely going to fix our offensive line, and I think we have a little faith, man. The draft is not.
Dude, hold on, time out. Trent Williams, I'm not discounting what we saw in person from 10 yards away. I know exactly what we saw. But I saw that a year and a half ago. I don't know what his health is. I don't know what his mindset is. I don't know what his playing ability is. And I don't know what his contract demands are. If he wants $20 million a year or be at $19 million a year, I'm out. I'm not paying him that.
No.
I'm not doing it.
I don't even want to go 8. I don't even want to go 18. You know what I'm saying? But what scares me, as I said, 15, 16, give him a little bump of what he did. That's reasonable. You haven't played in a year. You know what I'm saying? We have no idea what you still have left, and I don't want to make that kind of mistake. But the thing that scares me the most is this is a good draft, but the problem is most of the tackles what we want are going to be gone. That's the worst thing in the world, man. It's like, that's either he's going to have to move up or he's going to have to find it somewhere. So I understand what he's trying to do because the guys that we want are going to be gone. We can move back and grab old boy Josh. What's his name? Josh Johnson or whatever his name is? Solid guy. But I don't really think we can find a starting tackle in this draft in the second round. I think we can find some development guys.
No, I mean, I
think
guys that might
contribute.
If they don't get one in the free agency, they're going to look in the first round and try to get one at 11. I hope they don't trade up, but they may have to do that. But just assuming they do that. No, I think they can. I mean, quarterbacks are still going to go. There's going to be quarterbacks. We're going to want receivers. I think one will be there. I think one will be there at 11.
Yeah, but let me ask you a question, Tyson. If say the top 3 are gone, are you going to settle for the fourth best guy on your board? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Is that worth that? You understand what I'm saying? I mean, like
they're all good. But look at all the analysts, though. Almost every analyst says all 4 of them are comparable. They all have strength, they all have weaknesses, but they're all very good. So if you get one of those, I'm fine with it. That's what you have coaching for. That's what you have evaluations for. I mean, they're all saying the same thing about all 4 of them.
Well, what I'm hearing is for the guards and centers in this draft, they're deep as I don't know what. So we can get somebody like, we can get a really good couple of guards in the later rounds, the 3rd and 4th round.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? We can get a good center in the 3rd and 4th round. That's what he needs to make his money at. You need to grab them guys and get these guys in. I don't really want to see him spend $18 million or $17 million on a guard when we can find a comparable starting guard.
I agree with you.
You know what I'm saying? Now, if you want to bring Glasgow back, you want to bring Glasgow in and have him either play center or guard, then you cover. If you just want to have him at a guard for right now, unless you find something in the draft that you really like that you can come in and start, that's fine. If not, we got that covered. So I think he needs to cover.
That's what if you look at one of the interviews with Joe Douglas. What they said was, while he's with Baltimore, they don't like overpaying players. They like the mid-tier market. They let the first 2 days of free agency go by, and then they strike all the mid-level guys, and they make their money that way. Where they, instead of chasing that $16 million guy, they get an $11 million guy, and they find ways. You find your players that way. If the Jets take that approach, it'll be interesting because then you can get more players, and then maybe you can get your pass rusher. But my concern is, I don't want them chasing corners. I don't want them chasing a corner, though. I don't want no Byron Jones. I don't want none of this Bradbury nonsense. I hate those ideas.
Can I ask you guys a question? Do you think this is a really deep draft, or is of talent-wise, it's a surplus of talent, third and fourth round?
For what, receiver?
Wide receiver, yes.
No. Wide receivers, guards, safeties, cornerbacks. I mean, you guys think the third and fourth round you can find some quality players, right?
I think you can find quality interior offensive linemen in the third and fourth round. I think you can find quality wide receivers.
This is what I want Joe Douglas to do. If he learned anything from Ozzie, get some comp picks, bro. Get some comp picks. You know what I'm saying? Get one. You know what I'm saying? This is how you win. The Patriots got 4 comp picks in the third round. They have 4 picks in the third round. This is a really decent draft of great players. They're going, if they draft 4 players. No. That's what I'm saying. That's the whole problem. We need to start getting stuff like that because we're always the guys that go out.
We got to start drafting better. That's the friggin' problem. We don't draft well. We're paying the price now for 4 years of bad drafting.
Exactly.
4 years. Tyson, 4 years. Listen, we haven't had a good draft. We haven't had a good draft since Tannenbaum been here, bro. You know what I'm saying? Listen, that's how bad it's been. We haven't had a good draft since Tannenbaum, bro. Name one that you listen. Listen. You guys know what I said last draft. I'm sorry. You have to be retarded not to be able to draft the best player like Jamal. You know what? I'm gonna take Jamal. I'm gonna take Leonard Williams. I didn't even want Leonard. I didn't even want. Young man last year. I wanted Oliver, man, and I knew he was going to be a beast, man. I knew it, bro. I knew this kid was going to be nasty.
Yeah. Well, he's here. And let's talk about, Quentin Williams. What are your thoughts about the issues that he had with his arrest and the gun stuff, man?
Well, I'm going to say this right here.
Idiot.
Y'all know I live with
Come on.
I gotta consider one permission. I don't know if I'll leave home without it anyway. So, but no, just going to the airport. I think he should understand the law. But I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not making no excuses because I had this conversation. I went almost die hard on what a Jet fan on Facebook over this right here. No, I'm not making any excuses. He's a grown man. He should understand the law, but I don't think he did it intentionally. And I'm not trying to be funny, but he ain't the smartest knife in the drawer. You know what I mean? You see him, he's just kind of a big kid. You know what I mean? For real, he's from Alabama. He just a little, I'm just saying. I'm being real. I'm being honest, man.
Are you gonna tell me? This is the first time in a year he's flown. Come on, man. He knows the rules. I mean, this is just a dumb mistake.
It was a dumb mistake, you know what I'm saying? That could cost him his football career. I understand that, but I'm not saying people are we should cut the guy and we should get rid of him. Come on, bro. I mean, listen, I'm not making excuses, but why does everyone else want to be the cast the first stone? I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, he already has enough with it, but you see all these conflicting reports. He didn't have the gun loaded. He didn't have the ammunition on him. He was going in to check the weapon. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. He needs to know the law because he has enough money to know the law or enough money to be able to get the things to be the way he want to be. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, the kid is just, he's, to me, in my eyes, he's a little short bus, that's all.
Tyrone, good stuff as always, man. Thanks for calling in.
Fellas, love y'all. Come on.
Yeah, Joe, it's so funny. It was we're having, this off season, you try to let Quentin Williams go. You're like, you know what? He has an NFL off season. He's going to get much better coach, better strength and conditioning, all that stuff. You expect big things, and then you see that report, you got to be kidding me, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Doesn't the agent, doesn't the team, doesn't the NFL, all these things, he should know by now, after being with the team a year, what the rules are bringing a gun to the airport. So now I guess the ammunition wasn't with him. He tried to do the right thing, but it's just like, dude, like, it's just, come on.
Yeah, well, first off, I want to thank Tyrone for calling in. I always love speaking to him about, the Jets. He's a passionate fan. His takes are fire. Look, this stuff with Quentin Williams, he should know the gun laws. Like, you got to be a little bit smarter. I'm not a guy that's, bashing him and banging on him, but he's got to be smarter than this. You can't go and get in this situation. You can't have a gun in the Guardia, especially with the strict gun laws of New York. Like, come on. We've seen this play out before with other players. So, got to be smarter than this, but, I hope everything gets worked out and, he doesn't face any, big suspension or anything crazy like that.
All right, we're gonna go to Steve. Steve, what is up, man?
Hey guys, how you doing tonight?
See, Joe is back, so now you have your security blanket back, so this conversation should go much better now.
Come on, man.
Man.
He doesn't need a security blanket.
What's going on, man? What's on your mind?
My mind is this. What do you think about paying for a Byron Jones or a James Bradbury?
Absolutely not.
And why?
To me, listen, Byron Jones is a great corner. He's a very talented, all-pro corner. But the thing is, with the cap space that the Jets are in, I don't want it to be like another Tremaine Johnson again. And my message to Tremaine Johnson is adios. We'll see you at the door. I wish you the best of luck. Congratulations, you stuck with us. Thank you, Mike McCagnon, for giving him one of the worst contracts ever, giving him over $70 million. I wouldn't want that with Byron Jones again.
$34 million for 17 games. What a bargain.
Yeah.
I know. What a waste of a contract. But, listen, the other thing I wanted to talk about, listen, I get what you guys are talking about. We got to get that offensive line built for Sam. But I'm right on Tyson's page about this. Listen, I think Trent Williams is a great lineman. I've seen his highlights before in the past. I mean, last year he sat out. I know he doesn't want to be with the Redskins anymore. But the thing is, though, he's asking for $20 million a year. I can't give an offensive lineman $20 million. That's way, way, way too much money. Way too much money for an offensive lineman.
Yeah. Well, first off, Steve, I want to thank you for calling in, man. Yeah, well,
we're united now. We're united. This is a show now, Joe.
Well, Steve coming in with his takes. Look, I hear you, Steve, but I really think that he'll have no issue settling at that $17 to $18 million a year, maybe just 17. Would you be okay with the Jets giving him that $17 million instead of 20?
17 would be a good decent amount, but if it was 20, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. What kind is the max compensation that you would give the Redskins as far as picks to trade for Trent?
I mean, if we would go after a trade in Trent Williams, then I would say, I think what we should do is maybe do one of our own trades, and trade one of our players and maybe a third-round pick with it. I would say maybe trade like a Brian Winters to Washington and get a third-round pick and get Washington. I mean, and we also trade them our third-round pick for them.
Yeah, I don't think see, the funny thing is, like, it's so funny when people say, like, trade Avery Williamson, trade Brian Winters. You can't trade our trash, man, because people know what our trash is. Like, they know if the guy's major injured, you can't trade him. If they know you're going to cut a guy, most likely, especially a guy like Brian Winters, you're not going to be able to trade him, man. You got to find other ways to do it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm just going to see what happens, with the thing, but at the same time, though, it's just $20 million. You can't give $20 million to Trent Williams. You can't do it. And, Joe, I know you're big on him, and don't get me wrong, he is a great player, but you can't give him $20 million. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh. Well, no, look, I hear you, Steve, and I understand why some people would want to give him $20 million. Yeah, well,
it's tough.
Man, come on, man.
Hang on a second. Tyson.
Hang on, Tyson.
Tyson, hang on 1 second. I think what Joe is really trying to say is that he understands what I'm talking about. You know, he understands that I don't want the Jets to give $20 million to Trent Williams. Am I correct about that, Joe?
You're absolutely correct there. You know, Steve knows these things.
You don't have to
know what he's talking about. Listen.
Leave your hot take out there. Let it burn Joe a little bit.
Listen, Steve is so far ahead of you, Tyson. It's ridiculous.
He's too nice, man. He's way too nice to you. He's too nice to you.
Come on, man.
He says he gives a hot take and he says he's sorry. Why is he sorry to give you a hot take? It's a good take. I agree with him.
Look, we're good friends, man. I stand for the people. Listen, I understand what Steve is trying to say. $20 million, I understand why some people will balk at that. But at the same time, I don't think we'll have to settle with giving him $20 million a year. I just don't think that we'll have to do that. Because, we can still get over being the highest paid tackle and not give him $20 million a season. So I think, again, if you settle around that $17 to $18 million range, maybe $17 to $16 million, you'll be fine. And that's what we should give him in trade and keep it moving. There's no reason why we should not make a move for Trent Williams, particularly when you look at how poorly this offense.
There's plenty of reasons. The injury history, the fact he hasn't played in the years, plenty of reasons why.
Dude, he sat out. He sat out. Dude, he sat out.
Didn't play.
Like, what is the problem here? He sat out for you acting like he had like he blew both of his ACLs out and just couldn't play. No, he sat out. Like he's going to be fine. There's no issues whatsoever. Let's move on. Get this franchise changing and left tackle in here, and let that be that.
Now, one thing I will say this: if the Jets, let's say during this free agency, work on getting this offensive line fixed, I would love to go after one of the receivers in the upcoming draft. And if I really had I would. Now the other thing, Joe, I'm just going to say this right now. Stand the whole thing about the whole trading Jamal Adams. I totally understand that. But honestly, what you were saying, I still wouldn't do it to get those draft picks because Jamal Adams is supposed to be like one of our all-pro players in our future. Mm-hmm. And, and I really, really hope now. I know you think I'm going to sound crazy about this. And listen, you can have your opinion, and that's perfectly fine. I absolutely respect your opinion, Joe, because you are the man of the people. But at the same time, though, you got to. I got to pay Jamal Adams. It's just, it's just this whole fan base would be absolutely heartbroken if Adams got traded.
Okay, and Steve, listen, I hear you, and that's why I said, we got to start thinking about football more logically than emotionally. You don't want to pay Trent Williams $20 million a season. That's not what you want to do. But if you look at Jamal Adams, that's what he wants a season. So you're telling me you won't pay a left tackle $20 million, who literally is going to solidify a big building piece on your offensive line, but you'll pay a safety $20 million a season?
I'm not saying $20 million, but a good deal that Jamal would take.
But that's what he wants, Steve. That's literally what he wants. He's literally said on his Twitter, "I will not leave $1. I will not leave $1 on the table. Not one." So
I know.
It's $20 million.
It's a tough situation, Joe. It is a tough situation, but at the same time, though. At the same time, we're going to see what happens. I mean, listen, I do trust Joe Douglas.
Steve, can I help you, Steve? I'm going to help you, Steve. It's not a tough situation. You're paying. I'm on your side this time. So you better embrace this opportunity. You're taking the known, which is Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams is a known commodity on your team day in and day out of your facility. An all-star, all-pro player on the field and off of it, versatile, dynamic. Everything you want in a player, that's why you want to pay him all that money, because you have the cap space this year, and you'll have it the next 2 years because you have nobody else to pay. That's why you do it, Steve. You could tell Joe that.
First off, I think you're sending Steve down a bad road as usual. You're a guy that's trying to set him up. I see right through this because you're telling him to pay a safety, one of the most devalued positions in all of football, a non-premium
position. How's it devalued? The NFL is a passing league. He's a versatile playmaker in the secondary.
The NFL is a passing league, but he's not a corner. He's also not a pass rusher. There's a lot of good teams that have good defenses, but they don't have all pro safety
this year.
They don't. Okay, that's okay. He had 6 sacks this year. Fine. You know why? When you scream that,
he has to be a pass rusher. He's a pass rusher. He's a run stopper. He's not. An enforcer in the secondary. He can do it all.
Wait. Did you just?
He's a true Swiss Army knife.
If you're telling me if we paid Dante Fowler and he only had 6 sacks this year, you'd be like, oh yeah. No, you wouldn't.
That was going to be Jamal Adams is a lot more versatile than Dante Fowler. Jamal Adams plays a bigger role than Dante Fowler ever will.
Listen, he's an no, he doesn't. If you are telling me that you think a safety impacts a game more than a pass rusher, there's something wrong with y'all.
I'm saying Jamal Adams will play a bigger role than Dante Fowler will.
If that's what you think,
he can stop the run. He gets sacks. And he plays in the secondary. He gets interceptions. He can do it all. He's a game-breaking talent.
You think? So you're telling me you think if Dante Fowler comes in, let's just say Dante Fowler comes in and has
I don't want Dante
sacks,
Fowler.
you don't think? I know you don't, but I'm just saying any pass rusher comes in and has 15 sacks, you don't think they'll impact the game more than a safety? That doesn't make any sense. Well, that's why I'm saying you're sending Steve down a bad road right now. That's what you're trying to do so you can throw him under the bus. Look, Jamal Adams is a great player. He's phenomenal. He's an impact player. He's great, but he's a safety. He's not a pass rusher. He's not a corner. He's not a left tackle. He doesn't play anywhere on the offensive line. That's fine. He's a safety. You want to know why he was at the line?
He's going to set the NFL record for sacks as a safety, but he's not a pass rusher.
Yeah. You want to know why we had to do that? Because we don't have a pass rusher. That's why he was
Dante Fowler as a pass rusher only had 5 sacks more than Jamal Adams did. Jamal Adams missed games.
Yeah, well, listen, I'll tell you what. He's a pass rusher, and this is a passing league, like you said, pass rushers mean a lot. That's why you rarely see them hit the market. That's why guys will pay out of their nose for pass rushers. Listen, you need to pay a building block for your offensive line because Sam Darnold is here. That's why it's important to get the left tackle. I don't see how you can pay a safety $20 million and talk about not paying a left tackle. That makes no sense.
So you can pay a left tackle, but you're not going to pay a 32-year-old left tackle with injury concerns.
No, you're paying a 32-year-old left tackle that's one of the top left tackles in the league, if not the top left tackle in the league. You guys keep playing up these injury concerns. This dude is fine. He'll play. That's why he
misses games every year. And then he missed all last year. He doesn't play 16 games a year.
He missed. You keep saying he missed all last year. He sat out.
And how many games did he miss before that?
Man. Come on, man. Look,
he's played a 16-game season since 2013. 13 games, 10 games, 12 games, 14 games. Third every year.
There's no issues with paying him whatsoever. There's no reason why we should not go after him. This is ridiculous.
Hang on a second. Hey, guys, listen. I kind of thought about this because since you guys are talking about pass rushers, now I know, Tyson, you're not crazy about going somewhere on defense on free agency this year, but I know you were talking about the pass rusher, but there is a pass rusher that you guys haven't really spoken about. And he's actually a free agent, and I just thought about this now. What are your thoughts on Bud Dupree?
Aren't the Steelers tagging him? I thought the Steelers were going to tag him.
Yeah, I think they're tagging him.
I gotta look that up. I thought I saw something where they were trying to get something done with him. I'm not completely sure though.
Yeah, I think they're tagging him. So if they're tagging him, out of question for me. I mean, Bud Dupree's a good player. He could be an option, but I don't know about that.
The Steelers are expected to franchise tag Bud Dupree. That was from a couple days ago. So
yeah.
Okay. I know he was a free agent, but I mean, if you guys would be willing to go after a pass rusher in this off season during free agency, who would you guys go after?
Oh, I don't like Dante Fowler, and the guy from Jacksonville is going to be way too expensive. I don't want Clown.
Yeah, no, Ngakwe is going to be way too expensive. But wait a minute, what about
still out there? Is Beasley still out there, or was he?
Yep, Vic Beasley's still out there.
Going to be out there even. Yeah, so for me, Vic Beasley would be a guy that's the first name that pops up in my head if we're talking about paying a pass rusher. I think he's talented. I think he's a guy that has it. The numbers kind of dipped a little bit, but I think he'd be able to come here and produce in Greg Williams' defense.
Who do you want, Steve?
Well, no, listen, Vic Beasley would be a good pickup, but then the other one I was thinking about, but I think the Ravens did put a franchise tag on him, was Matthew Judai. Did they put Judai on a franchise tag in Baltimore?
They haven't announced it yet. They said it was still to be determined, but that was the rumor that they were going to as well, that he wasn't going anywhere.
Now, if Baltimore does not put a franchise tag on him, would you go after him?
That's a good question. I'm probably going to say no. I don't know why. I just want, like, if you're an elite player or not, let's see what, like, you have, Shaq Barrett, Dante Fowler, Kyle Van Noy, Matt Judon's 27 years old, Shaq Lawson, Jason Pierre-Paul. I mean, oh boy.
Oh, that dog's
under the beast. The last report about him was that they want to tag and trade him. That's what the Ravens are trying to do. Mm-hmm. He had 9.5 sacks last year.
Yeah, so. I mean, listen, I understand, what everybody is all talking about, but you know what? We're going to see, as free agency comes up next week, guys, and and we're going to see if the Jets do make that trade. I mean, if they do make that Jamal Adams trade, Joe, and if, let's say what you were saying, if they get all those picks from Dallas, fine. Mm-hmm. And I totally understand where you're coming from, because Dallas, I know, is a team that's very, very low on their cap space, and we can get picks for them. But at the same time, though, my worst fear is that a lot of the fan base will go nuts if Jamal Adams gets traded.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing, Steven, and people keep saying the fan base is going to go nuts. Look, the fan base can go nuts. If we get better as a team, if we get better overall, when the fan base won't go nuts? When we're winning. When we're winning and we're putting a winning product out there on the field, that's when the fan base won't be going so crazy about a player. Like I said, I get it. Jamal is beloved just around this entire fan base. I don't know anybody that doesn't like Jamal. But we've got to start thinking about this logically here, man. We've got to. This is to talk about paying this guy $20 million. I mean, you just said it yourself. You don't want to pay a left tackle $20 million, but you want to pay a safety $20 million? That doesn't. No team in the league would do that. No team in the league. If you put the guys that are in charge of the Patriots and you put them in charge of the Jets, they would never do nothing like that. They would evaluate the talent on this offense or the talent on this team, and they would do what it took to make the team better. The Patriots do that year in and year out up there. Year in and year out. That's exactly what they do. They don't care who. Well,
listen,
players there to move on.
Yeah, listen, and Joe, listen. At the end of the day, no matter what happens, like I said, we're going to see what happens. Okay.
Steve, I got to give you credit. This is the first call that you had that I've actually agreed with you. So it's glad to be united with you. I agree. Your takes were excellent. I firmly stand beside you with your strong takes, and I like that me and you both disagree with Joe. I think this is brilliant.
Listen. Listen, you just can't throw Joe under the bus, okay? Listen, I like both of you guys. I respect both of you. And at the same time, like I said, we're going to see what happens, okay?
Don't end your phone call with a cold take. Stay proud, stay strong. Don't start waffling. You had a good. We weren't putting Joe underneath the bus. We're just saying we disagree as a team.
Oh my God!
It's a cold take. Oh, we'll see what happens. That's the worst take ever. Oh, whatever happens. It could rain. It could be snow. It could be sun. Whatever happens.
Here we go.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys. Have a good night.
Don't forget to pet your dog, Steve.
Yeah, okay. Good night.
See, Joe, that was his best call he's had in a while.
First off, you're just ridiculous. First off, shout out to Steve. I want to thank him for calling in. He's a heck of a caller, knows his stuff. He wasn't buying your nonsense, man. It's okay. Everyone disagrees with things. He stood up.
It was your nonsense he wasn't buying. He went completely against
No, I don't.
And he apologized. He roasted you.
No, he didn't roast me. He stepped in.
He was sorry.
We had a difference of opinion. He thinks how he thinks, but he was able to come in and give his takes. He always does that. Always has.
We're going to go to Mr. NYSF Magazine. What's up, Jay?
I'm thinking about sponsoring Steve for the next NYSF Jets podcast, man. I feel like he needs his own show. He's graduated past caller level. He is now on, talk show host level. That was a quality call by Steve, man. Shout out to him. Love Steve there. That was great. Steve was involved.
That's gonna go right to his head.
He's come a long way since you quizzing him about players, starting lineup of players that were on the Jets, but he couldn't name them. Man, that man was busting out names, guys. I was like, damn, Steve. That's what's up. I'm proud of you there.
Jay, I'm telling you right now, Jay, I guarantee you right now you already have a DM in your box saying, hey, when's my show going to start? I guarantee you heard that. They don't blow up your inbox.
You want to really laugh? I'm going to put him on as the Let's Talk Jets after show, man. I'm going to sponsor a Tuesday night 10 o'clock Steve show. How about that?
He'll probably be right through it.
Oh, come on, man. Come on.
Steve's dog's gonna co-host too. It's gonna be fantastic. Steve, it's gonna be conversations with Steve and his dog going back and forth, man. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Soundbite.
Man, let's move on from that because now we're just taking shots at Steve after such a great call.
No shots. I've given him props. I told I'm not. That's no shot. Steve, I love you, man. That was a great call. I'm just gotta give a shout out to Steve. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, Tyson tried to slide that in. I already see what's going on around here. But listen, let me get your thoughts on this, man. What are your thoughts on the Jets cutting Jermaine Johnson?
Oh, it's a holiday around here, man. They could if it cost $5 to cut him, $5 well spent. I mean, if they say people are like, oh, how much are they saving? I don't care. They're saving not having that guy in the locker room ever again, or me ever having to watch that guy play. He ruined Sundays just watching him be out there. Just get that clown out of here. The way he walked out of, look, I don't usually get upset about stupid stuff like that, but the way that he walked out at the end of the season, I mean, I'd be ashamed of myself if I was him, man. That he's a crook. He took the Jets' money and he quit. But we've seen that around here before. Look at Mo Wilson this week. Damn, guys get paid and then they just decide that they've made it. They got guaranteed money in the bank, and they never come to work ever again. That's what we get around here sometimes. It's crazy. We got to avoid that, obviously. Yeah. That's why I don't want to be giving a guy like Dante Fowler 20 mil, whatever it would cost to get him. I mean, that guy, he showed up in his contract year. Where do we see the rest of his career? I mean, that guy, he's not a $20 million a year player because we've seen that story before. I guarantee you pay that guy. He comes here and he's the next bust. I don't want any part of that guy.
Yeah, and that's why I'm so nervous as well, coming off of getting rid of Tremaine. I think that, it's a move that has to be done. He's got to move on. But now we're starting to hear rumors about, us being linked to Bradbury and Jones and these other corners that are coming up in free agency. What are your thoughts on that, man?
Out. No, thank you. No more expensive, overpriced, teams let them get away cornerbacks. The only way to fix the Jets, as we've been saying for weeks, the only way to fix the Jets is to get younger and to get, and to draft well. And you want to plug some holes along the way, let's get some mid-tier guys. I don't want to give $20 million to anybody. If you're going to do it on the offensive line. But I don't want to give $20 million to anybody, $15 million to anybody. I think that you need to build this roster before you can go ahead and spend that kind of money. And to me, I've seen the Knicks do this. I've seen the Mets do it. I've seen teams, and the Jets. We've seen the Jets do it. It's like, you got to build properly. You can't do it all in 1 year when your roster is this terrible. So if you try to, turn this team into a Super Bowl contender by spending a bunch of money this year, or going out and getting like an Amari Cooper or some ridiculous move like that, man, you can't give $20 million. I'm with you, Joe, on the Jamal Adams stuff. It's the same thing. You can't just go giving out $20 million right now. You are not one player away. You need to get a roster. You need to get a team. So, we've had Jamal Adams on a rookie contract. We've had Robbie Anderson on a rookie contract, and we stunk for year after year after year. Now you want to give these guys $20 million and $15 million respectively? How's that going to work out? We had them at $500,000 and $4 million or whatever. I'm looking at their numbers in front of me, but we had Robbie Anderson on an undrafted free agent deal and Jamal Adams on a rookie deal, and we couldn't win a game. So now if you hand them $35 million between two of them, it's going to be that much harder to win games with them.
Exactly.
So you just can't do it. You can't build like that. And I know people don't want to hear that. Because look, we finally have a good player that we drafted. You don't want to get rid of him. I get that. But what's the goal? Is the goal that we could, wear a Jamal Adams jersey, or is the goal that we can wear a T-shirt that says New York Jets Super Bowl champion sometime in our lifetime? I mean, I want a championship, man. I don't care who the players are on the team that get that done, but I know this. When you don't have a left tackle and you don't have one cornerback and you don't have one wide receiver and you don't have an edge rusher on your team, you don't, and you spend $20 million, that is not happening. It's just not happening. You root for the logo and the jersey. You don't root for the player's name on the back, man. You just don't. So I'm with you on that, Joe. I'm Team Joe all the way on that, man. Call me Long Beach Jay until we give Jamal $20 million. We will regret it.
Give this man the round of applause soundbite. Come on. Where are you at, Tyson? Where are you at with the round of applause soundbite for this man who just gave?
I'm not supporting this nonsense.
Oh,
not supporting it. Now we're discounting Jamal, not paying him. I'm not giving this off.
I'm not paying Jamal Adams. I'm not paying Jamal Adams $20 million. There's a difference. Listen, we have Jamal Adams control for 3 more years. So what's the rush?
He wants to be the highest player in his position. That's what's going to happen.
I don't care what he wants. I want to, I use this analogy all the time. I want a Dejan for Aniston. It's not happening, dude. Like you want to get along.
All pro, but Jay, he's all pro. His resume warrants it. He's considered the best player in his position. He should be paid that way.
And you know what happens in baseball or in sports where in arbitration and the guy wants to avoid those years of control. You get the guy, if you want to extend him 3 years before you have to or 2 years before you have to, you get it at a discount. That's the reason why a team does it. You don't set the market with that guy and give him on a rebuilding team, a team that wins 5, 7. Team hasn't been in the playoffs in 10 years. You're going to give a safety $20 million? I love Jamal Adams. He's on the cover of our magazine 15 freaking times, 20 issues. But, come on, dude. I want to see this team win a Super Bowl. I love Jamal Adams. He's a great personality. He's fun to watch. But the team's not winning with him, and it's definitely not his fault. Of course it's not his fault.
But they weren't winning with him because he's not a game changer. It wasn't the defense. The defense kept him in the game. The offense couldn't do anything. It wasn't his fault.
Right, but that illustrates the issue. That's it. He was making his rookie deal, and we couldn't surround him with guys. You're going to give him $20 million. How are you going to surround him with guys?
Okay.
Dude, in the
scenario you had, then the scenario you had that we shouldn't keep Le'Veon Bell either. Then because we paid him all that money, and the offense sucked.
Le'Veon Bell's going to be here for 1 more year, and he's going to be gone. And that's just the situation. Is you got to pay him regardless.
But based on what you're saying, though, we should find a way to trade him or get rid of him because we had him, and our offense still sucked.
No, that's completely. First off, he has a completely different impact on the game. If he was used correctly, he literally can play. He could have been used in the slot way more often. This is a guy that can impact us offensively way differently. Listen, Jamal Adams is a great player, but like Jay was saying, and I've said as well, he's a safety. That's it. He's a safe pass rusher. He's not an elite corner. He's none of those things. We did not give him $20 million. That's ridiculous.
Stops the run, blitzes the quarterback, and gets interceptions. He does it all. The dynamic
he does. He is a dynamic, great player. I'm with you, Ty. But if he wants to be around a team that has a chance of winning, maybe he can hold off on getting paid for another year, and not hold out on that. It's because maybe you can extend him next year. And you can draft better, and you can address issues, and then you can afford to give him and maybe he can't. You can pay him this year. More money.
You have the ability to pay him this year,
but you really don't, though, dude. You don't. You have $80 million, $20 million, and address all these needs to address. You can't. And I can go out and I could buy myself a Lexus right now, but I'm probably like a brand new $200,000 car. Could I go ahead and do that? I mean, I guess I could maybe finance it. You know what's going to happen? I'm going to be broke. I won't be able to afford groceries.
I just don't. First off, Jamal Adams only had 1 interception this year. So say he got a bunch of interceptions, that's not true. Second off, to sit here, look, even if you look around the league, that's why a lot of people laugh at us, is because even running back is a devalued position. So even if you wanted to make that argument, Tyson, you could say the rest of the league devalues running backs too. They don't pay them. But we overpaid, again, another devalued position. But Le'Veon Bell, like I said, can still impact the game in different ways. So you can possibly even use that, hey, okay, it's fine that he's here even though we overpaid him because we had to get some type of talent offensively. He can be a great wide receiver for us. Le'Veon Bell is probably the best wide receiver on this team. And he's a very great running back, too. So he's a solid blocker as well. So he helps overall all around. But if you're talking about paying a safety $20 million, like Jay was saying, when you don't have a pass rusher, when you don't have a corner, when your offensive line is completely void of talent, that makes no sense at all. When you have no wide receivers outside of Crowder that are going to do anything, that's ridiculous. You guys, are you listening to yourselves? That's ridiculous.
I got Jet fans in my DMs every day that are telling me you got to extend Jamal, you got to give him $20 million, you got to give $15 million to Robbie Anderson, and then you got to get Sam Darnold paid. That's the same damn team we had this year, but you're paying him 26 as much. You're going to give Darnold 30, Jamal 20, 15 to Robbie. That's $65 million between the three guys combined. You were paying those three less than 10 while they were losing.
And you know what's crazy? And I addressed this earlier, but you know what's crazy, Jay? Is like we are literally watching what happens when you don't properly address premium positions. We are living in that reality right now. We're seeing what happens when you don't do that. When you don't make sure that your premium positions, your pass rushers, your corners, your offensive line, your wide receivers, when you don't make sure that those are solidified before you overpay guys, because the top three guys, I think, right now on the team, as far as pay charts, is Le'Veon Bell, the inside linebacker Mosley. Like, these guys, those are not premium positions. We're literally living and seeing what happens when you do that. And you got fans that are willing to do it again.
And then we draft. It just keeps bothering me. And then oh, here we go. See, this is going to be a hot take, because, maybe it's not the hottest take ever now, he got arrested, but... And then we had an opportunity to address the damn pass rush last year in the draft. We take another defensive lineman. And then the defensive lineman, I kind of talk about, I stayed so quiet. I'm trying to be a nicer, calmer Jay nowadays, man, not like flip out. But man, dude, people just, it's crazy how much people... If a player or a person wears their team's jersey, the excuses people make, dude. Trent Williams, man, he was born there, or he played football in Alabama or whatever. Dude, he wasn't in some other country where they don't know the laws. I mean, you have a gun and you bring it to an airport in New York. I mean, dude, like you gotta. I mean, can you imagine? Listen. I understand mistakes happen, right? A mistake is like oversleeping for work, like you forgot to set your alarm night before or whatever, or you had a couple too many drinks on the weekend and you have a hangover the next day. Like, yeah, those mistakes happen. Bringing a gun and ammunition to an airport in New York without having 100% certainty that that's okay is not a mistake. That's just dumb. It's not a mistake. It's not a mistake. You brought a gun with you to an airport in New York, the same place where 9/11 happened, without even checking to see if that gun was allowed on the damn... Come on, dude. I don't know, man. Like, every off-season, every damn day, it seems like, there's something new with this damn team to drive me insane. And that, like, man, that's not a mistake. That's just, that's literally the dumbest thing that I've ever heard in my life. And I didn't even comment on it, because I was just kind of shrugged my shoulders and was like, of course that happened. It's the off-season, and some jet is going to get arrested for something stupid. I just hope this is the last one. But that's my take on that situation.
Well, Jay, first of all, thank you for calling in and stirring up the masses with your hot takes. Give out information about NYSF Magazine.
Yeah, NYSF Magazine, it's funny. I was supposed to be back actually tomorrow, starting to distribute on Thursday and through the weekend of the new issue. The new issue got postponed here by a couple weeks because my travel plans were changed because of the damn coronavirus. So, unfortunately, we're going to come out with a digital issue, and then we're going to revise the content a little bit in a couple weeks, and I'm going to come back to Jersey in a couple weeks and get it out there. But traveling, it's a whole nightmare right now. My planes were canceled, all kinds of stuff. So we decided to delay it by a couple weeks. No big deal, but look out on the website for it. We'll be posting all information, everything on the social media, and appreciate all the support.
Good stuff, Jay. Thanks for calling in, man.
All right, guys.
All right, Joe, we're going to go to Ronaldo in New York. Ronaldo, what's up, man?
Hey, boys, it's been a while.
where you been, man? You took an off season here to just regroup?
Nah, nothing really happening, so I was just chilling. But now I'm starting to heat up, so I'm back at it.
So what are your take on these cornerbacks now? You have James Bradbury, Byron Jones, and the Jets are supposedly in the market to pay big bucks for one of these guys.
I don't know about Byron Jones. I don't think we have the money for that guy, but maybe a Bradbury, yeah, because if you guys watch the tape, I mean, oh my God, our quarterbacks were a joke. It was like our defense could have been elite, but our corners were just tragically bad. If we could get like a good corner for like $8-9 million, why not try to go get one?
Dude. Bradbury's not $8-9 million. He's $14-15 million a year.
See, that's just impossibly not happening. Then I'm sorry, we can't do that.
that changed fast.
I want to thank you for calling in. Look, I'm right there with you. You know, I look at, especially when you look at what happened with Tremaine Johnson. I'm not saying Bradbury is as bad as Tremaine Johnson, but he's not, a guy that you want to pay that type of money. He's not a top-tier elite corner, a shutdown corner. That's not what he is. But you're going to pay him like he's, out of this world corner. We just got out of the situation with Tremaine. We shouldn't go back into it with this guy, Bradbury coming in, especially when you have the holes that we have elsewhere. And one of those guys that can really fill one of the bigger holes we have on our offensive line is Trent Williams, man. What are your thoughts about the Jets possibly trading for him? And what do you think the Jets can get him for as far as capital?
I would rather not have to give up any picks, but if we would have to, maybe a third or something like that. Not a second or a first, definitely not. We do need a left tackle for Sam, but maybe we can find one in the draft though, like an Andrew Thomas or something like that. You know what I mean? Maybe we could get a cheaper option, a younger option, instead of just going free agency heavy and just trying to get a Trent Williams.
Mm-hmm. So and I hear what you're saying. That's an option as well. But for me, I look at the situation and I say, okay, well, if you trade for Trent Williams, that solidifies that spot. He's going to come in. He's going to do his thing. He's one of the best left tackles in the league, said and done. But some people are looking at him and just going, well, you also got to pay him as well because he wants an extension. What's the most you'd be willing to pay him? Would you be willing to give him that $16-17 million a year if you decided to move on and make that trade?
If we're willing to give Tremaine Johnson 15, might as well give this guy 30. I mean, are you kidding? Give him the money. It's not coming out of my pocket, you know what I mean? It's coming out of Woody Johnson, that joke of an owner. So, yeah, take all his money. That's how I feel.
So, who are your top, three free agents that you want?
Restricted as well, because, some of our guys, like Brian Poole, obviously, I want back. Bobby, I want back, obviously, and if we could keep Beachum, that would be great, but I highly doubt that's going to happen. Some other guys I'd want, damn, let me see. Oh, definitely, definitely want.
Well, you mentioned Robbie Anderson. What are you willing to pay him? Because he's going to free agency, and there could be several bidders for him. So how high would you go for him?
You see, that's why I think that's not true. I feel, because since this wide receiver draft is going to be so crazy, I think he kind of, got screwed over with that, because nobody's going to pay him big top dollar with the production he's had, and with the amount of talent that's coming out of the draft. So that's why he kept retweeting today all this stuff about the Jets and this and that, trying to get the fans to,
he retweeted the Panthers, too.
On his side. Yeah, but the Panthers, I highly doubt the Panthers are going to want to get Robbie Anderson. They don't even have a quarterback for the future yet, so I don't know what that's going to do for them. Cam Newton's washed up at this point. I mean, injury prone.
Cam Newton with Matt Rule there as a new head coach, a head coach is going to, oh boy.
What is Matt Rule going to solve ankle injuries and, shoulder injuries? What is this guy, a doctor? I mean, he's just a football coach.
Just a football coach. He's one of the highest paid coaches in the NFL. But okay, I think he's going to figure out ways to not have Cam running around head first into running the ball and getting killed too.
Sure.
And probably
pocket passer. That's not Superman.
Well, not even that. I mean, Cam Newton took a beating, man. I mean, I'm sure they're going to prioritize how to use him.
True. We can only hope.
Hey, man. So and then you're looking at your free agents, and now when you look at the Jets' offense, if say Robbie goes somewhere else, would you want to go wide receiver in the draft, or do you go after like a Sammy Watkins or somebody?
Sammy Watkins. I don't trust his injury. I don't trust that. I would just trade down in the draft and try to get one in the first round, maybe.
Trade down?
But then again, I want offensive line. Yeah. We're stuck. I don't know what to do. Like I don't know.
You got to call in more, man. You've lost your touch, man. You've lost your touch. You're very erratic. This is very inconsistent. This is a disappointing phone call, man. You've done a lot.
He's not erratic.
This is an off-season call.
I'm erratic.
I'm gonna.
You're a fan of the New York Jets. What do you mean? How erratic can I be?
This is an off-season call. He's not in rhythm right now.
No, it's not. No, he's all right. That's all right. You know, I'm gonna stand for him. I think he's looking. What he's trying to say is this: he'll look and see, you know, what kind of tackles are falling. You know, maybe all the tackles are gone.
Facts.
Maybe, you know, all the offensive linemen that he covets, maybe they're not there. So then he'll go wide receiver or trade down because there's other wide receivers still available. I know people are talking about CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy. They could be there, but maybe he's a guy that covets Henry Ruggs. He's a guy that can be there a little bit later than 11.
Exactly.
Justin Jefferson is also a guy that can be there later than 11. I talk about Brandon Ayuk as well, could be there a little bit later than 11. So there's a possibility you can trade down and still get a solid wide receiver, and then also gain value for later on in the draft. Those mid-rounds too, you can still get, you know, there's other wide receivers that could be in the second and top of the second or third round, stuff like that. I've heard about Mims as well. People are clamoring for him. He could be a guy that could be there in the second round too. So, you know, what Ronaldo is saying, you know, it's factual. This guy's bringing his takes and he's bringing his fire.
Yeah, no, this dude's just a hater, man. I swear. This guy, if you don't agree with him, he's like, you against the world with this guy.
Yeah,
I appreciate you guys.
That's a fact.
Good night, Ronaldo. Thanks for calling in.
All right, see you guys.
Yeah. That was a great
call.
Joe,
listen, mate.
That was a great call. I want to thank him for calling in. That was amazing. This guy, he brought fire.
He brought fire. He's had better calls. He's had better performances. This was clearly an off-season call. He took a little break. He's like a lot of the other podcasts out there. They vanish for like a couple months and then they come back and
here we go.
They're a little rusty, but then they get back into the swing of things.
Here we go. Listen, I have no issues with anyone or any other shows. I respect you all and everything that you do. If you took issue with what was just said at TRouse21,
I don't care.
Let him know how you feel. Please do not tweet me. I have no issues with that. Again, I want to thank Ronaldo for calling in. Phenomenal call. That man knew exactly what he was talking about, and he brought his fire. Can't wait to hear from him in the next upcoming shows.
So, Joe, as we look at more of this free agency, obviously Monday is the legal tampering side. Who do you think is the first player the Jets go after?
Trent Williams. Honestly, I think it's Trent Williams first. Then once that domino falls, if we're not talking about making trades, if we're going away from trades, because you'll have to trade to get them, but if we're just talking about going away from that, I think the first player that you won't have to trade for that we can move for in free agency would be Jack Conklin. That makes the most sense to me. You cannot go in to this season with the nonsense that we had at right tackle. You cannot do that, okay? Look, I know I love Tuma. I know other people love Tuma as well. He needs time. That guy, he's not a starter right now, and we saw, whatever. You just hate the greatest college there ever is and ever will be.
No.
Okay,
I hate watching bad offensive linemen. He's a bad offensive lineman. That's what I hate.
Look, here's the deal though. He wasn't drafted to be a starter right away, and that's what I'm saying. You can thank Mike McCagnon for that. He wasn't drafted. He shouldn't have been drafted to be a starter right away because he was a project, and we all knew that. So you got to solidify that right tackle spot. And I think after that, of course, if we get Trent, we get Jack, then you look to, solidify that interior. You look to see if you can get a guy, maybe Glasgow, maybe Connor McGovern, like I said, and Thune could be a guy, again, that could still be in play and get him in there, and then boom, your offensive line is significantly upgraded. And then you can, again, it changes your entire perspective on the draft. Now you don't have to go into this draft and go offensive lineman after offensive lineman after offensive lineman after your offensive lineman. Now you can go and say, okay, look, I've got things solidified up front. Now I'm going to give my quarterback somebody to throw to so we can put up 40 points a game. So we can really fast-track things and really get going around here. So I think that's what we got to do.
Yeah, and one thing I want to see, too, is that, in years past, there's been the notion that Mike McCagnon was never quick to pull the trigger. The Jets were always used as leverage. And that's the kind of, for me, this first offseason with Joe Douglas, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see us getting played for leverage. I don't want to see us, it's down to the Jets and the Panthers, and it's down to this, and the Jets had their chance to make their last offer. You kind of want to see the, take it or leave it kind of stance from the Jets, and kind of make, reestablish yourself as an organization with a spine and know what the hell we're doing. You remember last year we went through it with what? We went through it with Mosley. We went through it with Le'Veon Bell. We went through it with Anthony Carr. We went through it with Matt Paradis. I mean, we with all these guys. I want to see Joe Douglas have a firm plan and say, listen, here's our best offer. Take it or leave it. If you don't take it, we're going to our plan B now. We're not going to sit and wait and be stuck with nothing like we were at center. We got stuck. Mitch Morris went to the Bills. Paradise went to the Panthers. We were playing this game about injuries, and then we were stuck with no center. I don't want to see the same thing happen this year with offensive linemen. If you try to make a strong play for Conklin and you don't get him, go to your plan B. Don't sit and, you got to be able to read the scene. Listen, we're getting played here. We're not, they're using us as leverage. He's not going to sign with us. He doesn't want to come with us. Let's not sit around and wait. They do with pass rushers. I mean, they did the same thing last year. You kept waiting. The Packers go sign 2. Everybody signs 1, and we're stuck with none. I'm just hoping that doesn't happen this year, man.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping as well. Like you said, I'm hoping that we don't get played with, that we don't get toyed with, we don't get used as leverage, and we're really on the outside looking in, thinking that we're, in the driver's seat. I'm hoping that Joe Douglas, is able to come in, especially using his relationships and everything that he's got, with these agents or anything else, gets a deal done, moves on. And if you can't land the guy, then, you move on, like you said, go to your plan B, go to the next guy. But I'm also hoping, what I'm hoping to see from Joe Douglas is how he handles that second wave of free agency, not just the big name guys, how he gets, those other guys, those quality signings on, the next day of free agency, those guys that people really aren't thinking about, pulls them in here and is able to get production out of them too. So that's what I want to see him attack as well.
All right, we're going to go to Angelo in Arizona. Angelo, what's up?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, no problem, man. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the Jets. I'm a first-time caller. Been listening to you guys for a while, and thought I'd give you guys a call and say hello and give you my take on a few things.
So we'll start with corners, because the big story, I guess Connor Hughes revealed that the Jets are interested in Byron Jones or possibly James Bradbury and could be in a bidding war for him. What is your take on paying big money for a corner?
Yeah, it's a good point. I think with some of the history that we've had with corners and with the play that we've actually had last year, I kind of tend to stay away from those free agents this year. You made a good point a little bit earlier. We just may not have the funds available at this time to really pay for some of these corners. We actually had some decent play last year, Millette, etc., from our corners and from our defensive side of the ball. We really had a good opportunity to stop some of these wide receivers with the front line helping out too. So going back to your question, no, I don't think we need to overpay for any of these free agents. I think we can do it in-house, maybe draft a little bit, and take it from there.
Yeah. I want to thank you for calling in as well. I agree with you. I think you have to look at this situation. You should not be overpaying for a corner. There's so many other holes that need to be addressed. You can honestly address corner, in the draft. We'll have that available, and that's what we should do. But overpaying for a corner, especially when we just got out that situation with Tremaine Johnson, we should not go back there again. But one position that I'm interested in seeing how the Jets handle is that the offensive line, mainly the left tackle position. What are your thoughts about the Jets trading for Trent Williams?
Yeah, you made a comment earlier, Joe, on the show regarding that left tackle position and Jamal Adams. Let me start with the left tackle first. I think the draft is top-heavy this year with left tackles, and with the 11th pick, I think we can leverage and have the opportunity to get a left tackle through the draft without overpaying for a 32-year-old left tackle that's been injured the last couple of years. And I know he sat out last year, but even before that, he was absent on many occasions throughout his career the last couple of years. So that kind of scares me a little bit. And at 32 years old, with some injury concerns, and him possibly wanting anywhere between $17 to $20 million, to me, doesn't make sense. It's more of a short-term fix when we're looking for a long-term fix. And that's where I think going back into the draft will help us.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I hear you there. I don't necessarily agree with it being a short-term fix because, okay, let's think about it like this. If you were to get Trent Williams, you could give him a 3 to 4 year deal, $17 million per year. That opens you up to be able to draft a left tackle within either of those 3 to 4 years. So you can still address the position, but it doesn't put you in a situation where, again, with all the holes that we have, where you have to pass up on a top target like Jerry Jeudy. Because we're just talking about fixing the offensive line, but there's gigantic holes on this offense. We have no targets for Sam at all. Right now, we're talking about Quincy Enunwa coming back. Like, there are people clamoring about him coming back like he's never plays. He hasn't been healthy a whole season, I don't know how long. So when you're giving a franchise quarterback next to no targets to throw to, that's not going to help him at all. So trading for Trent Williams honestly helps your long-term plan because not only can you get targets, because this is such a wide receiver heavy draft, and especially at the top where we're going to be, there's guys that can immediately come in and be a number one for us. But then you can also draft a guy next year or the year after that to come and take his place in the meantime.
Well, I think you answered your own question there, Joe. I think because this year's draft is so heavy with wide receivers, I think you can double dip at this opportunity. You can take the left tackle in the first round and even take several other wide receivers throughout the other rounds to help your team out.
You can do that, but they're not a Jerry Jeudy or a CeeDee Lamb or Henry Ruggs. Those guys are the top of the top. If we're talking about really fixing this offense and supercharging, you want to get the best of the best out there. I'm not denying that there's this heavy wide receiver class, but let's not pretend like Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb, these guys that I just said are at the top. Those guys are great. They're going to come in and immediately get some numbers of production. So I don't understand why we're waiting until the mid-round to address that if you can get that in the first round.
Yeah, so
and you can also solidify your
opinion,
left tackle position there with Trent Williams. He immediately comes in and becomes a solidified left tackle for you. He's going to be solid. That guy's a franchise-changing left tackle. He's one of the best left tackles in the game.
Yeah, so to your point, he was one of the best left tackles in the game. So that's more pass. So you're paying him on his past performance, not what he can give us the next several years, which I am a little bit in doubt with because, again, he has been injured. He is 32 years old. Left tackle is a position that needs great athleticism and youth. And I think that a left tackle can grow with our quarterback, Sam Darnold. So that's why I think we can take a left tackle in the first round. We can take maybe even a center in the first round and build the team. And I think it's really important. We need to build the team inside out. The line with a lot of pieces to the puzzle, but on the offensive side, without us addressing the offensive line, I don't think the team can move forward.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, I see your point, but I still like Trent. There's other tackles as well. Most of the top tackles in the league are in their 30s, and they're still playing extremely well. A lot of great offensive linemen play until they're late in their 30s, and I just don't understand.
I agree with you. I mean, the left tackle with the Rams, Whitworth, I think, he's 38 years old, and he's playing at a high level. And I agree with that, but I don't think he has, however, he doesn't have the injury concerns, Joe. I think that's one of the main issues I have.
Well, I hear you, but I'm not as concerned with the injuries. I think he'll be fine. But, again, we'll have to disagree with that. Agree to disagree.
That's fine.
But
that's fine. Are you concerned at all with some of the overpayments? So what I mean by that is Your co-host talked a little bit about, how much money the Jets have to spend with the cap space. And I think that's a concern of mine as well. I know we can make some cuts and we can get up to $70+ million, but I think overpaying for some of these free agents is going to hurt the team long-term as well. I think that's another concern I have. That's why I really want to focus on more mid-tier players that aren't that expensive, that can come in and play, and then focus again on the draft. You made a great point earlier about, hey, is there an opportunity of trading Jamal Adams and getting some assets in the draft for that? I think that's a wonderful idea. I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah, and I was gonna thank you. I was gonna talk about that as well with you, but we'll hold off for that. But look, am I concerned about us overpaying in free agency? I mean, yes and no. No, because I expect it. We're gonna pay the Jets tax because we've been bad so long. You're gonna overpay, and we're gonna drastically overpay in free agency, especially get certain players here, because that's just the name of the game. So, as long as we overpay in the right spots, like I said, your left tackle, your guards, guys that are going to come in and be able to immediately provide impact for us, as long as we overpay in the talent there, I don't necessarily have an issue with overpaying at those spots, but I wouldn't overpay for a corner. I wouldn't overpay at certain other spots where it's like, that. We've seen that before, and we can move forward, and not only that, but we can draft it. That's all I'd be worried about. But like Robbie Anderson, I wouldn't overpay Robbie Anderson. I wouldn't give him $15 million if we can find a guy in the third round of the draft that does exactly what he does. So I wouldn't be interested in that whatsoever. But I want to go to that Jamal Adams, trade with you real quick. I want to talk about this because, some people don't want to hear that. What do you think that we could get back, for Jamal Adams if we were to trade him to the Cowboys?
Yeah, so you guys make a great point about Jamal Adams. It seems to me that a lot of the fans are emotional about him. I know he gets on Twitter, all the social media, really puts himself out there, really brings himself as a person of interest for the fans and for the team. But we all know that he's really, really leveraging himself to get the biggest cash back that he can get. I like him as a player. I don't think of him just as a safety. I think of him as more of a three-way player, linebacker, safety, cornerback. He can do multiple things. He's a Swiss Army knife, if you will. And that's what I like about him. He can play multiple positions and help your team in a lot of different ways. However, going back to your point, for a safety, to be paid $17 to $20 million a year. For me, I think you can use those funds and you can get other players in other areas to help. And more importantly, I think if you find the right team, maybe Dallas Cowboys, for example, you can really get some assets in the draft. And this way you can kind of plug in some other holes that we really need. And we really do need quarterback, left tackle, edge rusher. It's really important.
I thought you were going to go down the list there. I mean, there's so many positions. I thought you were just going to
I didn't want to take any more time up. Here's the thing. We just have so many needs. We are in the rebuild here. And if we can get some more assets through the draft by leveraging a Jamal Adams, I think it would be the smart way of going for the team.
Angelo, excellent call. Thank you for calling. We definitely appreciate it. You dropped a lot of hot takes and interesting takes on Jamal Adams, man. I think a lot of fans are torn about him. You could see his value as a trade. You could see his value as a player. It's just his contract demands that kind of make everybody kind of change their opinion a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, agreed. Again, he's a great player. He's good to be the face of the franchise. But I just think we can do some different things, leveraging him to another team.
Awesome. Thanks for calling in. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. You guys have a great day.
You too. We are going to go to our good friend Shaq. Haven't talked to Shaq in a while. What's up, man?
What's up, fellas? Long time.
Where you been, man? Why are you throwing us off, man? We're taking this stuff.
No, man. Busy, man. You gonna hear kids in the background in a little bit.
Don't worry about it. So, hey, man, look, I've been listening. You know, if Robbie getting paid more than $11 million, I don't like it. I wouldn't trade for Trent Williams. Probably a third or fourth. And if CeeDee Lamb is at the 11th pick, take it.
So wait, if you trade for Trent Williams, what kind of contract are you going to give him?
He asked for $20 million, right? A year or something like that. Yeah, no, I'm not giving him that. Yeah, what about $17 million? I could give him that. I could give him. There you go. I could give him that. I could give him maybe 16.
Nah, he's going down, boy.
Hey, he's 30. He's 32, man. He's 32.
So, Shaq, what do you do at the cornerback position? We got Tremaine Johnson's finally gone. Darryl Roberts is a free agent. You know, you don't really have much there. You got to try to get Brian Poole back. But do you try to sign one of these top corners? Do you go mid-tier guy? Like, what's your plan at corner?
I like Bradbury. Byron Jones cost good. James Bradbury, I like him.
At what price?
I wouldn't mind taking him.
At what price?
He's not asking for much.
What?
What? He's not asking. How much is he asking for?
This is an off season. This is an off season call, man. Shaq, what you did, man? I had high hopes for you. Come on. This is
how much is he asking? He's asking for Byron Jones money?
Yep, he's gonna be up there.
No way. No way. Well, okay. Well, all right. Well, I guess, man. I don't know, man. We're gonna have to build through the draft, and because we have too many holes on offense, man. We got too many holes on offense, and we're going to have to build our pass rush because our pass rush is still in question. That's still in question. So, you know, we're going to have to build cornerback through the draft. Which you guys think the cornerback position should be? How it should be handled?
Yeah. First, I want to thank you for calling in.
Good, Joe.
Go ahead. Yeah. First off, I want to thank you for calling in, Shaq. You know, look, I think the cornerback position needs to be addressed in the draft. I don't think we should overpay another corner to come in here when we just saw what happens with Tremaine Johnson. You pay a guy, I think Bradbury is looking, I think it was $15 million, you know, and you may get into a bidding war with a bunch of other, Shaq, this is free agency. There's a lot of guys that get overpaid all the time in free agency. Like, especially if the market is thin at that position when there's a team that's in need. That's one of the reasons. You see, that's one of the reasons why we are in trouble, because the positions were thin, or there were guys asking for a ton of money, and we didn't have talent in those positions because Mike McCagnon was a garbage-ass general manager, and so he would overpay guys to get them here. That's how we ended up with a guy like Tremaine Johnson, because he couldn't draft a corner worth a damn. So you see how we're living proof of what happens when you do that. And so you don't want to do that there. So I would address cornerback in the draft and move forward from there. But for me, I'm looking at this situation with Adams, and he wants $20 million a season. And I'm saying that I'm ready to trade him. I'm ready to move on from him. I like him a lot. He's a great player. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, man. I'll pay him.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll pay him.
Okay, Shaq.
I'll pay him. He's a Hall of Fame. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. You can't let Hall of Fame talent out the door. Legendary talent. You can't let it go.
A Hall of Fame. Okay. Okay. All right. I'll stand for the people. I'll stand for the people now. All right. Now listen. Can you tell me why you would pay a safety $20 million, but you aren't willing to pay a left tackle who's a franchise-changing left tackle $20 million?
Because he's 32.
Yep.
He's 32.
And injuries.
Injuries. Hold on. Wait a second. most of the top tackles, if you look at most of the if you look at most of the top tackles in the league, they're 30 plus. If you look at the top ends, if you go to the top of the list, most of those guys are 30 plus. Most of them 32. He sat out voluntarily. He did not want to play. It's not that he could not play, because they actually wanted him to come in. He said, "I will never play for you again."
He didn't want to play last year, and the year before he was hurt.
He didn't miss you guys are acting like he missed the entire season.
He hasn't played a full season since 2013.
Yeah, the guy is a great left tackle. He's one of the best in the league.
Yeah, he's so great. The Redskins would keep him.
Can somebody please? No, the Redskins can't keep him. He doesn't want to play there. They want to keep him. They want to. They've had multiple discussions with him. He keeps saying, "No, I don't want to be here." So why are we now valuing left tackle over safety? Or safety, excuse me, over left tackle?
Now, if he was 25, played the snap, didn't get hurt, then I'm paying him that money. But the thing is, Joe, he's 32. Injuries always got. He is a premier left tackle, but he's up there. Because he's hurt.
Okay, so can you explain? Okay,
he won't even give us a full season.
He will give us a full season. Can you please explain to me how you will pay a safety $20 million with all of the gigantic holes that we have on this football team? Why would you do that?
I'll do it. You pay Jamal Adams.
I'll do it. You have nobody like Tyson.
You tackle on the first round. You find a different way to get your left tackle instead of getting $20 million. You use your number 11 pick in the draft.
If Joe Douglas is so illogical. If Joe Douglas was so good at drafting, then we don't have any other players to pay. I'm not paying nobody else big bucks.
Exactly. Well, but the fact that you don't have other players to pay, wouldn't that speak to you needing to move on from him so that you could bring the team talent up as a whole?
It means you finally. No, it means you finally
go through the draft.
You finally keep him.
No.
Yeah, he's 25 years old. He always was healthy. A vocal leader.
He's a safety. And he's a safety.
Vocal leader.
He's not an all-pro. And he's not an all-pro passer.
So how many tackles for loss does he have? Corner. He has tackles for loss. He has 6.5 sacks. He's good at pass coverage. All of a sudden, you're making Jamal Adams like a one-dimensional player.
No, I'm not.
Game-breaking player on defense.
All pro is first 3 years.
Right.
The last 2 years.
You're right. And you know what's crazy? You're right. He was all-pro. And we got completely destroyed against the Bengals. And the Patriots beat us 63-14. And we lost to the Dolphins, who was a full-blown rebuild. They were trash. We lost
there's 22 players that start. I mean, so now Jamal is responsible for 22 players?
He's not responsible for 22 players. What I'm telling you is that we are in no position to pay him $20 million a season. We are in no position to do that. You just said we don't have anyone else. There's a reason for that.
Where do you find your building blocks at? You find the building block player.
You trade him.
Trade away your building blocks.
We can't even draft right, bro.
What do you mean?
Joe Douglas is really good at drafting. He could build through the draft. But we don't know that because it took him a whole month to figure out we needed a kicker. So I can't even put our trust into him.
Here's what you do. It's very simple. I talked about this earlier.
The only building block on defense. The only building block you have on defense is him.
No. He's not the only guy. As I was just about to say, he's not the only guy that can play on defense. Listen, what time it is you don't pay him $20 million. You can trade him, gain capital, and then build the team with those draft picks. That's what we should be doing. We should not be trying to pay one guy $20 million when you have no pass rusher. You have no wide receivers to throw to at all. You guys are talking about depending on Quincy Enunwa, who never plays. You have no depth. You have no running backs after Le'Veon Bell. You have no offensive line at all.
It doesn't change anything.
What are you guys
crazy? You will not find another Jamal Adams in a while, man.
Nope. You don't have to have a Jamal Adams to win, though. You don't have to have a Jamal Adams to win in this league. You don't.
Jamal Adams wins your games.
There's a lot of great. No, he does not. Look, he's a good player. He's a great safety.
Now Jamal Adams. You know what else? Jamal Adams isn't a game-breaking player. He's not a game-changing player.
He's a great player. He is not a wide receiver. He's not a left tackle.
He is a guy that the offense has to account for at all times.
Tyson,
the offense has players at all times.
Then why did we struggle to go 7-9? Why?
Because Mike McCagnon can't build the roster. Mike McCagnon can't build the roster.
Because he has no offensive line.
You keep bringing him up like we haven't been losers with him on this team. He's been here this entire time.
It has nothing to do with him. It has to do with no
because
offense.
Mike McCagnon can't even build the team.
You're right.
We drafted a D tackle and we got 3 of them on the roster.
Exactly. But that's exactly what I've been saying. That's exactly what I've been saying. You guys keep talking about, the roster's not built correctly. Exactly. So that's why we're not in the position to pay him $20 million. We're not one player away. When you pay a guy, a safety, $20 million, you know what that is? You're one player away. That's why, the Cowboys are interested in him. Because they just need that next guy to really push them over to get them winners. We're not that one player away. You guys keep saying this like it makes sense, and we don't have nobody else to pay. Might as well pay the safety $20 million. We are literally living proof of what happens when you don't address premium positions.
He's one of the most important players on your defense. That's why you keep him.
No. So what would you trade him for then, Joe?
He's the most.
If you want him gone so bad, what would you trade him for?
Let me finish, Shaq. Hold on a second, Shaq. He's the most important player on our defense because we don't have a pass rusher. That's why he's the most important player on our defense. He's the most important player on our defense because we don't have a corner. That's why. That's why you say stuff like that. Other teams.
I say that because he's the best player on our defense. He's one of the best young players in football. That's why I say that.
You're right.
You're discounting him, which is ludicrous. I'm not. If you think paying Jamal Adams holding him back from, it's crazy. This take is crazy.
I'm not this.
You can re-sign Jamal Adams and rebuild his team at the same time. It's not a roster changing move.
How?
It's just not.
No. Why would you do that? Why would you pay a safety $20 million?
He's a game-breaking player on defense.
He is not a
game-changing. He had 6.5 sacks and he missed 2 games. He had 6.5 sacks. That doesn't mean it. It's a record. That doesn't count.
He's not a pass rusher.
That doesn't count now.
He's not a pass rusher, Tyson.
So he had 6.5 sacks.
If you had a pass rusher that, hold on. If you had a pass rusher that only had 6 sacks, you would be laughing. He led the team in sacks because we don't have a pass rusher. You keep literally making
Imagine if he had a pass rusher, he'd probably have 10 sacks. You're making my point.
And guess what? We don't. We don't have a pass rusher. We don't have good corners. We don't have good offensive linemen. We don't have any wide receivers.
Fault? So how's this all Jamal's fault?
No,
it's not his fault.
It's not.
That's more reason why you need to keep him.
You're right. Listen, I said it before. It's not his fault. But guess what? We've got to do what we got to do to build this football team. It's not his fault, but he's going to be a casualty of it. We've got to
your way of rebuilding the team is trading away your best player and creating another hole. That makes sense.
No,
good idea.
It's actually not creating a hole.
And then you want to try to create a hole through the draft.
Let's lose more talent. The little we have.
No, my way of building this football team is trading away a player and continuing to build through the draft with the capital to get back for him.
From the rising stars of the NFL, trading away your best player on defense. That's your plan.
Yeah,
that's great.
Only 24 years old.
Yes, I am. And you know what I'm going to do with that capital? I'm going to build my offense like we should have been doing years ago, and I'll build the defense next year with some of the capital that we'll get to. Because what I'm going to do is I'm trading the best player away from my team.
You might screw it up. It wouldn't surprise me.
No. Here's what I'm doing when I trade away what you call the best player on our defense. I'm going to rise our team skill as a whole. That's what I'm going to do.
And you can do that.
Or you can get backwards and get D. Miller.
You can do the same thing and keep him.
No, you can
keep Jamal Adams do the exact thing.
It's going to be so. If you pay a safety, the situation we're in. If you pay a safety $20 million, you're out of your mind. That is illogical.
No, you're not. You can keep your best player and build around him.
That is an illogical.
It's called building around your best player. You want to build around. You want to build your offense around Sam. You put your defense around Jamal.
A $20 million safety.
Money doesn't matter to me.
You got Mosley.
They don't have nobody else to pay.
Yeah, we don't have nobody to pay.
I don't care about.
You know why we don't have anybody else to pay? is because we don't have any other talent. That means you need to go get more talent.
That doesn't justify you. That doesn't justify. We have no talent. We have no talent. Let's get rid of the little talent we have. We have no talent. Let's trade Jamal. Wonderful idea.
No, what you need to do, what you need. No, it's not crazy. What you need to do is listen. What you need to do is trade him so that you can accumulate more talent at premium positions. If you think paying a safety $20 million is going to make this football team better, it's not. It's not.
Take a chance with that.
We've seen it not work.
Take a chance and get another D Milliner, man.
Yep.
You want another D Milliner? You want another D Milliner, Joe?
Listen, if you're letting fear of the draft overwhelm you when everybody was raving about Joe Douglas, I have no clue what you guys are talking about. That makes no sense.
We've been begging for game-breaking players, begging for superstar players, all pro players. We finally get one. You want to trade away?
No,
just trade away. Trade everybody.
We've been begging for game-breaking talent at certain positions.
Yep,
there's no reason you should play a safety.
You want to trade away the best player on defense?
That's ridiculous.
He's more than a safety.
No, I'm
more than a safety.
I want to raise the talent level on this football team as a whole.
You want to raise the talent?
That's what I want to do.
Player.
That's exactly what I'm doing. Yes, because getting rid of him to play a whole 5. That's exactly what I want to do. Getting rid of him can net me 5 more players that could raise this team talent as a whole. Anybody that's talking about paying a safety $20 million in a situation you're on drugs. You're on drugs. You sound ridiculous, Tyson. You're on drugs. You're on drugs. If you think paying a safety $20 million is good, you're crazy.
I'm glad.
You're crazy.
Shaq, I love you, man.
I love you too, man. Joe, you can't get rid of a guy that got talent like Jamal. You can't do that. He's the best safety, best strong safety at his position at 24. Like, come on, and you want to get rid of him and take a chance through the draft?
Shaq, I got a question.
Talk to me.
Who's our best corner? What a Brian Poole. Brian Poole, yeah. So just with that question, I've pointed out the fact that we don't have a number one corner. Yeah, you keep forgetting about them because they're not very good. We don't have a number one.
More important.
No, it doesn't. That's ridiculous. We don't have a number one corner, and we don't have a number 2 corner. Can you name our pass rusher? Okay, so we don't have a pass rusher, so we've addressed that, right? This is a passing league. All the elite teams in the league have a pass rusher, right? We don't have that. So let's go over to the offensive side of the ball, Shaq. Who's our number 1 wide receiver? I like Robbie. Crickets. We don't have a number 1 Robbie. Robbie's not a number 1 wide receiver. Who's our number 1
So we have $80 million in the draft to address
our
holes, and we all agree it's not going to happen this year. So what's your point? If it's a 2-year plan, you do something this year, something next year. And this year's plan includes Jamal Adams.
My point is this, is that when you're as untalented as we are, you cannot give one player $20 million. You cannot give a safety, $20 million.
So where the rest of the money going to go, Joe?
Where's the rest of the often injured left tackle that would want to get rid of.
You're trying to get another Tremaine Johnson?
No, I'm not trying to get another Tremaine Johnson, Shaq. I addressed this earlier in the show. It's very simple. You literally can sign Jack Conklin to solidify your right tackle. If you want to trade for Trent Williams, which I'm a fan of that, you should do that. Anybody that's trying to act like this guy sucks for whatever reason.
We have $100 million.
We're saying he's too old and he's not reliable to stay on the field.
Okay, so even though all the rest of the tackles are above 30 as well, most of the top tackles are above 30 as well, he's just too old, even though he could give us a 3 to 4 year window of playing at elite level, and we have no clue, we have no remnants of a left tackle here at all, right? Because our offensive line was trash. You trade for a left tackle, you sign Conklin, you sign a guard, whether it be Thuney, Glasgow, McGovern, whatever. You get rid of Jamal Adams, which gives you 2 first-round picks and some other change, and you draft 2 wide receivers in the first round. That's exactly what you should do. And that supercharges your offense. Very easy. Not that hard.
What up?
And then with the rest of the draft, with the rest of the capital, and the rest of the stuff you have next year, you can go back and address that. You move Marcus May over,
Joe, you're
continue to play free safety or strong safety. That's ridiculous.
So we have 15 holes, and you spent $60 million on 3 players. That makes sense.
You don't want to pay. You don't want to pay Jamal, but you want to keep Avery Williamson.
Yeah, because Avery Williamson is only making he's only making $6.5 million.
Yo, you know I agree with you. Most of everything you say, 95%. But this right here is ridiculous. Avery Williamson and Jamal Adams situation is ridiculous.
How are we comparing giving Adams $20 million to paying Avery Williamson $6.5 million, and he's an All-Pro linebacker?
No, because Avery, we were the number 2 run defense without him.
Okay, so what do you think? What do you think will be with him? What do you think will be with him?
You can't go no better than that.
$6.5 million. He's only making $6.5 million. It's not his fault that you're paying.
You're going to pay that when you're paying your other linebacker just $18 million? You're going to pay $22 million inside linebacker. Wait, but Joe, he's not a premium position, man. He's not a premium position. He's not a premium position. That goes against your logic.
You're right. He's not getting paid $20 million either. That's not what he's getting paid.
You can save $6 million to get somebody cheaper getting the same production. You could save $6 million to get the same production from a younger player that's cheaper.
Listen, if he comes back and he's 100% from that injury,
we didn't have both our inside linebackers with that type of with a top defense.
Exactly, but it's not like the production from those guys would be the same production you'd get from Avery Williams.
Younger and cheaper, it's better value. Younger and cheaper, same production.
Listen, stop acting like Neville Hewitt and those guys are better than Avery. They're not.
No.
He's an all-pro guy.
Hell no.
Okay,
so
it's not but I don't think we need Williamson. We don't need Williamson.
He's never made all-pro. Where is this all-pro coming from? He's not an all-pro linebacker.
Yeah, he didn't even all-pro.
I said Pro Bowl. Listen. You guys are sitting here acting like this guy sucks, and he does not. He's
replaceable.
The best production.
He is replaceable.
It is a drop off in
talent. So let me get this straight, Joe.
It is a major drop off in talent if you give it to Avery Williams.
Jamal Adams is replaceable, but Avery Williamson's not. This show is comedy hour, man.
No, it's not comedy hour.
This is ridiculous.
Avery Williamson's got. You sound ridiculous. You sound completely ridiculous because you're talking about paying $20 million.
You still the greatest, Joe.
You're going to spend $60 million.
You're making me cry right now.
That's ridiculous. You guys sound.
You're making me cry right now.
You guys are literally sitting here trying to equate paying an inside linebacker $6 million versus paying a safety $20 million. How are you guys even equating that? That doesn't make any sense. You sound completely illogical. That's ridiculous. That is not how you build a football team. Y'all sound ridiculous. Both of y'all.
Could you build your football team by paying 2 inside linebackers $24 million?
Joe, you paying this.
Listen, you are paying.
And Jamal played last year.
You are another all-pro. You are not overpaying Avery Williamson.
Joe likes to pay guys that didn't play last year. Trent Williams and Avery
This is ridiculous. Y'all sound ridiculous. Y'all sound completely ridiculous. You guys are paying an inside linebacker $6.5 million to a safety that wants to make $20 million. That makes no sense. Y'all sound ridiculous. Y'all sound completely ridiculous.
Shaq, thanks for calling in, man.
Okay, Joe, we still love you. I love you guys, man. I'm glad to talk to you guys again. I need that.
Have a good night, man. All right, we're going to go to Gangrene David. What's up? Oops, his wrong button. What's up, David?
I just got off my Talking Jets panel, and this is just incredibly entertaining.
Well, hey, we're here for you, man.
I mean, this is chaos. I mean, the whole Jamal Adams talk, I'll kind of break the ice with this. I think this whole thing with Jamal is a roll the dice situation. I think you kind of look at this whole situation where people are saying, extend Jamal now. He's an all-pro guy. I get it. But, however, some people are saying that, we have so many holes on the roster. We can't really afford to pay a safety now, which is where Joe is coming from in a sense. But it's hard for me to, unless it's monumental compensation, it's hard for me to trade an all-pro building block on your defense who is a phenomenal leader and you bring him back. I mean, he's pretty much your number one recruiting tool at this point. He's a big influencer on a lot of free agents, and he's well respected around the league. So unless it's for a legitimate amount of monumental compensation, I'm not trading him.
That's not true. That's another false narrative. That's what this is completely ridiculous. Listen, if you look at all the free agents that we've had, since he's such an influencer, is he active on social media? Does he try to recruit guys? Yes. But if you name Mosley, Le'Veon Bell, Tremaine Johnson, who else? Anthony Barr, all these guys, you know what the thing is we have in common with all those players? We overpaid them. All of them. We overpaid all of those guys.
You pay any free agent, though.
Hold on.
That doesn't do for any free agent.
If they love Jamal Adams so much, why do we have to overpay these guys to get them come here? $3 million discount.
Because you have to pay for free agents, Joe. That's how it
works. No, we're overpaying guys to come here. That's what's getting them here, David. We're overpaying them. That's what got Le'Veon Bell here.
So we have to trade Jamal because we're overpaying for guys. What? That's what. We have to trade Jamal because we're overpaying for guys. That's real smart.
No, we have to trade Jamal because we don't have talent and we need to build. And he is a safety. Does not play a premium position.
Unless it's for monumental compensation.
No matter
he's
how
the best safety in the league. He's probably our best defensive players. It's Darrell Revis. It's hard for me to trade him. It's hard for me to trade him.
You're right.
You're going to create another hole on the roster. And then when you have to draft another safety, you're gonna have to pay for him too. You're gonna try to trade him away.
No. Actually, I'm not creating another hole in the roster because Marcus May is extremely talented and can do the same things that Adams does. And guess what? With the capital that I get from Adams, I can raise my team talent.
What capital are you getting? What capital are you getting?
You're getting at least a first rounder and a third rounder this year. And again, my plan: a first rounder, a third rounder this year, and a second rounder and second round and a fourth round pick in next year's draft. You could probably even get more than that. That's just like a baseline. That allows.
No, I can understand the compensation.
Let me finish, David. That literally gives us 2 first-round picks in this draft, filled with wide receiver, in a team that has completely no offensive talent. We were dead last offensively in the league this year. Dead last. Complete trash. This is amazing that you guys and Tyson has found a way to convince some people that this team is somehow in a position to pay a safety $20 million a season. It's unbelievable.
Why do you think it'll be $20 million?
This is crazy. What?
You think it'll be $20 million a year?
He said
even if it's 18, who cares? Even if it's 18, who cares? I don't care. $500,000, $18 million.
If it's 8,
who cares? Pay him. You don't pay a safety $18 million. All-around defensive player that provides a lot of legitimacy to the defense.
I want you to do me a favor, David. Stop trying to compare him to Revis. Revis played a premium position, and he was a elite player at that premium position. Okay, because you keep saying, he's next to Darrell Revis. You literally put Revis on one side.
He completely obliterated
a side of the defense. Yeah, he's a great player. I'm not taking that away from him. But he's not what we need. We need more than just him. And guess what? Because you guys, like you, they used to back Mike McCagnon, don't blame me, don't get upset with me to talk about getting rid of him. Guess what? All the bad decisions that Mike McCagnon made along this way of his whole tenure is the reason why I'm talking about trading Jamal Adams. We wouldn't have to be talking about trading him if you drafted correctly, but we didn't. We didn't draft correctly. We didn't do free agency correctly either. That's why we're at where we're at. You don't pay a safety $20 million when you struggle to go 7-9 and your offense was dead last and you have next to no talent at premium positions. That makes
so if you're going to trade Jamal, how exactly are you going to replace him? You're going to rely on Marcus May as your new savior?
Yes, I'm making Marcus May. Here's how I'm going to replace him, David. I'm going to go get some corners. I'm going to go get a pass rusher so you won't have to put so much stress in your secondary. I'm going to go get some offensive linemen to help. In the draft. You can draft those, David. I'm going to go get some offensive linemen.
The pass rusher was last year. The time to get a pass rusher was last year.
David, there's pass rushers in every draft. I don't know if you know that, but they are. They're around. And when you're talented and you have a GM that understands talent, he will find you. So you can get a pass rusher.
He hasn't had a free agent draft yet. Where's this notion that he's understanding of talent? He's still got to get these guys to come here. He's still got to find a way to market the team to free agents.
You're telling me that you don't think Joe Douglas understands how to build football teams?
I understand I understand that he can build. I understand that he can understand talent, but the problem is, what kind of positions is he going to address? Is he going to pull Mike McCagnon and address the wrong positions? That's
David.
Joe Douglas doesn't get a lot of praise either.
Listen,
sure, he can understand talent, but can he get them to come here?
It's pretty obvious what he needs to address, David. It's not rocket science. We have no good players at premium positions. We have no offensive linemen. We have next to no wide receivers. We have no pass rusher. We have no corners. Figure it out.
No, I understand that.
It's easy. It's not hard. Like this is not rocket science at all. If you're telling me, and you raved about Joe Douglas coming here, and now you're saying, oh, well, he doesn't. What were you raving about him for then? Because you were one of the first guys to call in and talk about how much you loved the signing and him coming here.
Yeah, talent-wise, I was raving about him. Talent-wise, I was raving about him, but he's still got to put now duties as the general manager.
But David, now you're saying that when you raved about him, I remember when you called in, like it was yesterday. You literally said, oh, he's a great talent evaluator, good scout, knows what he's doing. That's why I'm so happy to have him come here. He helped build the Eagles, and they won a Super Bowl.
That's what I said.
Okay, so
I also said, Joe, I also said...
great talent evaluator, though. If he was a great talent evaluator...
He's a great talent evaluator, but that's not enough... Yeah, but I also said, Joe, that now he's going to be taking that next step to where he's going to have to utilize cap, where he's going to have to utilize free agency, where he's going to have to utilize the draft. Can he actually get free agents to come here? Can he actually get deals done? Can he take those steps as a general manager? Like, sure, you can evaluate talent any way you please, and hopefully he can do that in the draft. But free agency is also critical, because as a general manager, you need to find a way to be able to market your product and get guys to come here. That's another thing I said. Sure. Can he do all that? Can he utilize that skill and actually fulfill normal general manager duties? That's what I said.
And that's exactly what he's going to be doing this offseason, David. That's exactly what we're talking about right now. But you have to give him the opportunity.
For me.
Okay, so you have to give him the opportunity to do that. Paying a safety $20 million and then trying to go into the field and find other guys.
Talent. Is Jamal Adams not talent? And it's not. Well, first off, I don't think it's going to be $20 million a year. I think it'll be like $17.5, $18 million. But is Jamal Adams not talent?
He literally said he wanted $20 million a year. That's literally what he said. But
I don't know how I'm saying that.
Talent. He's very talented, but guess what, David? He's a talented safety. He's not a talented pass rusher. He's not a talented corner. Doesn't play wide receiver, and he's not a guard. He's not what we need. He's not a premium position player. We are literally...
I'm not ruling out trading Jamal, but I'm purposely more in favor of keeping him. Listen, any player is tradable, but when you have a cornerstone piece like Jamal Adams, unless you get monumental compensation for him, it's hard for me to get rid of an all-pro cornerstone on defense. Especially if this is, like I said, it's a roll the dice situation where, like, does he want to get paid right now? Like, if he wants to get paid right now, like right this moment, and he holds out, then you could consider options there, and you could try to get the monumental compensation. But however, if Joe Douglas allows the process to go smoothly to where you could address all your needs first, and then you deal with Jamal, then by all means, like I said, it's a roll the dice situation. It's all going to depend on how this could all play out on Jamal's end, too.
David, I'm proud of you, man. I'm really proud of you. You held your own, and you fired back. You're probably your best call ever, man.
How many times have you said that,
seriously,
man?
I'm proud of you, dude. I'm actually proud of you, dude. You said, I just sat back. I have popcorn here. I have a beer. I'm just chilling out. I'm like, everything I wanted to say, you said yourself. I'm proud of you, man. This was your best call ever.
Thank you, Tyson. I appreciate that.
So before we let you go, man, plug all your stuff, which is probably like a 5-minute infomercial, but plug all your channels and everything.
Well, listen, man, you want to put an infomercial? It's called Properly Marketing Your Product. But guys, you can check out my channel, Gangrene David. I'm posting a lot of content out throughout the off season, especially throughout free agency. Also, you guys could check out the Talking Jets panel. I'm live every Tuesday night at 9 o'clock. Sorry, guys. Unfortunately, that's how scheduling goes nowadays. I got a lot of stuff coming up
now. You're going directly at the same time as us now? Oh, goodbye. You're out. That's it. He's done. Take care. Cut him off. He's out. I hung up on Joe's case.
Wow.
We can't market a show at the same time as us. He's out. Take care.
Come on, man. Listen, first off, shout out to David for calling in. It was great going back and forth with him. I love trading and debating, about whatever Jets. But, I wish David the best, and I can't wait to hear his show. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to hit on anybody. I'm not going to knock anybody. We're doing our thing. I'll listen
at the same time we are.
Well, I'll listen after. You know what I'm saying? I'll listen after when I have time. You know what I'm saying? I'll support everybody if I can. But hey, this is Let's Talk Jets. We got to do what we got to do.
He's competition now. Now we got to block him.
Well, come on, man.
That's it. Man. He's out. He's on the list now. Until prime time. Gangrene David's off. Man. Same time as us. He's out. He's on the list.
Come on, dude. There's no need to do that.
We're gonna go to Steve and all of it.
Crazy.
Steve, what's up, man?
What's going on, fellas?
Well, this show went off the rails in the last half hour. I was trying to get ready just to calm down, but Joe's got this place upside down.
Oh, no. Yeah, it's been interesting. It's been a better night, that's for sure.
So what's your take, man? Are you ready to ship out the Jets' best defensive player, or do you want to keep him?
Yeah, I'd probably ship him. I'd definitely ship him, actually, 100%.
Exactly.
What is the least compensation you take from him, though? What was the least you would take in return?
Definitely, I want at least a first and a third. Anything else I can get would be icing on the cake. I don't think we're going to get 2 firsts and a fourth like Jalen Ramsey got, just because safety versus cornerback. I mean, it's obviously a superior position.
Exactly.
I would definitely take at least a first and a third. Or, I'd want, a stud player per player swap, something like that, which isn't really likely. At least a first and a third.
I want to thank you for calling in. It's great to hear from someone who is not going to allow Tyson to sneak in with his trolliness and just be ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Like you said.
I like Jamal.
Like others have said. Yeah, we all do.
Yeah, thank you,
I love
Steve.
Jamal.
How do you hate the guy? I mean, it's not that we hate him, but, if I can sign Connor McGovern and Graham Glasgow for the amount of money that guy wants, why wouldn't I do that?
You can sign them and keep. You can sign them and keep them at the same time. So why not have all three of them?
Then you're just overpaying a guy that you really like when you know that he doesn't really play the most important spot on the field.
You're overpaying. You're overpaying a guy that in 2 years his contract will match other guys. His contract will be expensive this year, and next year will be the second highest paid. And 2 years from now, the contract's going to be underpriced. So what's the difference?
Yeah, I don't understand this blind allegiance to making this guy the highest paid player when he we don't win football games when he's on the field now. We win when we have an offense. Look back at the last time we won. We had
you can address
3 offensive linemen, 2 wide receivers.
And you can do all that by re-signing them all at the same time.
It's not even worth it, though. We're not going to be a team that can afford to pay him anytime soon. You want to pay him $18 million a year, you can literally add so much more with
Steve,
that.
What's holding us back? Who do you have to pay next year? They have nobody to have to pay. Sam Darnold.
Paying Jamal because you have nobody else to pay is bad. You don't just pay somebody because you have nobody to pay.
You're keeping the best player. You're keeping the
best player. Free agents, dude. Come on, man. Take your Jamal Adams jersey off.
It's not about jersey. You can pay free agents. Okay, I'll pay Tremaine Johnson. I'll pay Tremaine Johnson. How'd that work out?
So because we had bad free agent contracts, you just overpay a safety? Come on, man. Should we just not draft anybody now?
You can draft your whole draft talent,
so you got to pay a safety. It sounds ridiculous.
So what? We had a bad draft pick, so we're just not going to draft anybody? You got to sign free agents. You're going to swing and miss.
So instead of keeping one of your players that you drafted, one of your best players, you want to go pay other free agents, which you're going to overpay as well. You're willing to overpay everybody else but Jamal Adams, because that makes sense.
I'm going to add 2 offensive linemen and then get 2 draft picks for Jamal Adams. Use your brain, dude. Come on.
How are you going to do that? How are you going to get 2 offensive linemen and 2 draft picks for Jamal Adams?
What?
Based on your comments, you don't have any either, so it's fine. So now you don't care who you draft.
Who's to say that we can't draft a stud offensive tackle with that pick, or a stud wide receiver that turns into
a player
that makes more of an impact than
Your 11th pick, you can do that. Your 11th pick, you can do that.
Come on, dude. I'm just using the way you're thinking against you. You just, this is just blind loyalty.
You're not really making any points. You've done nothing to change my mind.
You said a lot.
I don't know how.
Everything you said made sense to me, so.
Well, that's because you're on the side.
I mean, like,
we have a draft class.
Paying a guy
$80 million in cap
who
space.
else are they going to pay?
Re-signing Jamal Adams makes no difference. Still do everything you want to do.
You can have your quarterback throw touchdowns. And then, like, when you score touchdowns, you win games, you know? I mean, you can get a lot of sacks as a safety, but you can go 7-9 and then ask to be traded to another team. Or say you wanted to get traded to another team in an interview and then have the fan base want to pay you $18 million a year. I don't get it.
It's not like we got to build around Sam or nothing. You know, we could
why?
Get draft picks. I got to understand. So this one contract. So this completely stupid idea that you guys have is this one contract holds the Jets back from building their entire team. $18 million controls the entire future of the Jets, and I'm the ridiculous one. You guys are nuts, man. Yeah. You guys. I never realized $18 million controls the future of the Jets. That's remarkable. I never knew that.
$18 million probably gets you Dante Fowler, a guy who's going to stand in the box and get more sacks than Jamal, and probably as many interceptions.
Exactly.
No. If you're Dante Fowler,
he's not more than a safety. He plays at the line of scrimmage and gets sacked. That's what he is.
Dante Fowler, Dante Fowler is a career underachiever, and that's a guy you want to bank on, and I'm trusting your opinion? No, thank you.
He plays edge, dude. He doesn't play safety on the line.
He underachieved. He's been grossly overpaid until this year, another contract year. And you played around all-stars. You played around. Look at the Rams defense. Look at the Rams defense, and look what he did. Bring him here and see what he would do. I guarantee not the same thing. And then you be the first one to call and say, "Oh, he shouldn't have got him."
And even if we don't play around let's say we take that money.
Dante Fowler played around all-stars.
Yeah, but let's say we don't pay him, and we go on that to take that money and go into the offensive side of the ball. That does nothing but bode well too. Paying a safety $18 million does hurt us because it hinders us from continuing to build the way we should be building.
$18 million will not make or break the New York Jets. $18 million doesn't break the Jets. It doesn't.
Let me tell you how it does. $80
million
every block. I listened to you complain about this offense and how bad it was, and now you're sitting here trying to facilitate an idea of us giving a safety $18 million. That makes sense.
$18 million.
That's illogical.
I can still because. See, if you would take the time to realize that I can pay Jamal Adams and still rebuild my offensive line, you understand it. You can have the best of both worlds, but you're just so against it.
You can't. Doesn't make sense to do it.
Why would I pay $18 million doesn't stop anything?
Yes, it does. You can literally
$18 million.
You cannot pay him. You cannot pay him and rebuild your offensive line faster. You can get rid of him and even build your offense even faster. That makes no sense.
You can. Use him as a piece, dude. Come on. You can leave if you trade him to Dallas for 17 and 82, you can leave the first round with Andrew Thomas and Henry Ruggs after adding offensive linemen and free agency with that money. I mean, what are we talking about?
Wow. It's crazy.
Like, are you kidding me?
We should pay us.
You'd rather have Jamal Adams than, like, come on, man. Like, I get it. He's a fan favorite. Everybody likes him, but, like, take your blinders off, man. So he's the right player.
No blinders, man. There's $18 million will not make or break the Jets. It doesn't matter how much you want to try to justify it. If you can't build without one player, I mean, that's give me a break.
But we're still losing games with them. We're still getting scored on and not scoring points.
So you're still losing games with Le'Veon Bell. You're still losing games with everybody else. You're losing games with Sam Darnold. Does Sam Darnold suck too? Are you losing games with Sam Darnold?
No concept of positional value. Oh my God, man.
You're losing games with Sam Darnold.
How many Jamal jerseys do you have?
I don't buy jerseys, man. I'm not worried about it. Your insults don't faze me, dude. You're just not looking at the big picture.
I'm not. Dude, you're not even. I don't even know what you're looking at. I don't know if your eyes are open.
It's positional value.
You know, I got blinded with your nonsense.
And justify.
I got blinded with your nonsense, man. You can't figure out how to spend the salary cap and draft.
You can't sit here and just exactly. You cannot sit here and justify this team in this position paying a safety $20 million or even $18 million. That's illogical. It's positional value. We are bad at other premium positions. You cannot do that.
You can't do it. You can't do it. You guys you love Jamal. That's great. But there's no reason for us to
I don't love Jamal. I don't care about Jamal. I don't love Jamal. He's a good player. He's the best player on defense. You're just trying to push your narrative. I'm not agreeing with it. I'm not going to push over like the rest of these clowns. No, that's all it is.
He wants to make $1 million less than. He wants to make more money. If he makes 20, he wants to make more than Von Miller. It's insane. And you want to pay it.
Hey,
insane.
That's the NFL. I'll pay it. I don't care. Doesn't bother me.
Yeah, because $18 million couldn't go to one of those guys. It actually impact the game,
dude.
Insane.
He's the best player. He's the best player. That's all that matters to me.
If you pay him $18 million, he's making more than Odell Beckham.
I don't care. I don't care.
He's making more.
I don't care who they are. I don't care what other players are making.
Not logically.
I'm not thinking emotionally at all. I'm thinking about the best player on the defense. Yes, game-breaking player that we haven't had.
Gassed up you are.
I'm gassed up because you two guys are trying to act like you're pushing your narrative. I'm not buying it. You're not making sense to me. You're just not making sense. $18 million is not breaking your narrative.
Yes,
you're pushing your narrative. I'm not agreeing with you. That's it. I'm never going to agree. And the handle won't bother me. It doesn't bother me. I don't care.
That's crazy. You'd pay him $20 million a year? You'd pay him $20 million?
That's what he just said.
I pay him $18 million, no problem. I pay him $18 million, no problem. No problem. Give it to him today.
20? What if it's 20?
Fine. 20. Give him 20. Fine.
Crazy.
Move on.
Crazy.
Doesn't bother me.
Absolutely crazy. You're nuts, dude.
Steve, thanks for calling in, man. Have a good night. All right, we're going to go to Big Green.
I'm in here. What's going on?
Big Green, what's up, man?
I got to agree with Joe. I'd rather trade Jamal and get some picks and rebuild this team faster. Because you only have Sam John for so long before his contract goes through.
What do you want in return for him?
A first-round pick, preferably a third and maybe a fourth for the following year, or a second. I really don't know what we could get for him, but as much as we can, obviously.
Yep. Okay, fair enough. And who are your top free agent guys that you want this year in this class?
Definitely a tackle, Conklin. I'm kind of on the fence about Trent Williams. I know Jason Peters is playing until 38. What is he? He's going to turn 39. Is he turning 38? But depends on how much we can get Trent Williams for. But I definitely got to take a left tackle at our number 11 pick. And if we can't get Trent Williams, I'd try to get Jason Peters, plug him on the left side, and let whoever we draft with the 11th pick.
Jason Peters.
Oh man.
Oof. Yeah, that's. What kind of contract is him, man?
Yeah,
38 years old, he can't make that much. I mean, 12, 13 million.
But that's kind of the problem. Don't you think? If he's old and kind of on a decline, it's the kind of guy you want at 38 years old. You want to give him any kind of money?
Yeah, but it's just for a year until we get a left tackle.
Yeah, but don't you want to kind of get away from Band-Aids and get away from Band-Aids to kind of find long-term solutions and not risk?
But this is just for this upcoming year. We're going to draft our stud left tackle in the first round, but put him in at right tackle for this year and then move him over to the left side.
Whoa, that's a lot.
I'm going to take a center with the second in the second round.
Okay. Yeah, look, I want to thank you for calling. That's a lot of movement. I don't know if I would go after Peters. For me, if we're gonna bring a guy in, some people talk about Band-Aids and all that stuff. I'd like it for a longer term. Like I said, that's why I'm big on Trent Williams. That 3 to 4 years, I think, really gives us a space where, even if we don't go, tackle because we've addressed, right tackle as well in free agency, it gives us 3 to 4 years to find, that left tackle, that next guy, is going to be able to step up when Trent Williams is done here. So, but, I also hear your take about, us drafting a left tackle. I know people, are talking about that as well. It's a big advocate of that too before, I was also talking about Trent Williams in there as well. So, it depends.
What would you give up for Trent?
What would I give up to Trent? I would give up a third-round pick. I would give up a third-round pick for Trent. The second one, ours. I wouldn't give up the Giants one. I would give up ours.
because the Giants pick is higher. But, of course, they probably want the Giants pick. I would give that up, too. Honestly, I would go as high as a second-round pick. That was as high as I would go. I would not give them a first-round pick. I wouldn't give them, a boatload. I wouldn't give up nothing like that. I'll give you a second-round pick, or I'll give you a third-round pick and a fifth-round pick. Basically, whatever we get for Leonard Williams is what I would give up. And that, and I pay him his little extension, and we move forward and have that left tackle solidified. But I want to go to some of the rumors that we're hearing, man, around the league. We're being linked to Bradbury in free agency. What are your thoughts about us possibly paying in free agency big-time money? Are you an advocate of that?
No. After the whole Tremaine Johnson thing, I do not want to go down that road again. I'd rather take my chances in the draft. I mean, we got Bless on Austin in the 5th or the 6th round, and he had to replace him.
Yeah, well, Bless Austin got benched the end of the year too. He's got some work to do.
He blew that one coverage that he got behind him, and that's one thing Greg Williams does not want. Not get beat.
Yeah, you got to. That's kind of the hope you have, is that you can get these young guys, and Greg Williams can coach them up. You could maybe pay less for corners or find mid-tier guys, have them coach them up, and maybe find some, get some value there, ideally. That's we're hoping. When you're looking at the running back position, you have Le'Veon Bell. Would you want to bring back like a Ty Montgomery or Bilal Powell, or maybe try to go younger and more explosive players?
I would like to bring back Ty Montgomery, but use him how I'd like him. I would like him to be used. So we'll probably get a running back maybe the 4th or 5th round. If we don't bring him back. All I know is we want to go. I hope we take one with one of our last picks.
Well, they signed it. They got Brett Maher they signed from the Cowboys, and he sucks. And they definitely need a kicker. That's another problem, or maybe a punter too.
Oh yeah, we have a good punter, I think.
I think he's a free agent, isn't he?
I don't know.
Isn't Locke Edwards a free agent? I gotta look that up. I thought he was. Maybe that's the rest of the team's a free agent. I know we have like 20-something free agents. Mm-hmm. Joe, do you know if he's a free agent? I thought he was.
I think he is. I'm not sure though. I think he is. Google it. I think he might be.
Maybe. Let me see real quick. I had it right here. 2000. Yeah, he's a free agent. Yeah. We need a punter and a kicker.
We could re-sign a punter. I'd say we should take the kicker out of from Georgia with their last pick.
Oh, I hate kickers to begin with. So, well, Big Green, thanks for calling in, man. We appreciate it.
You got to take an edge too somewhere in there.
Yeah, gotcha.
We've been saying that since John Abraham.
Before I was born.
Have a good night, man.
You guys have a good one.
As we wrap things up, first of all, we want to apologize to anybody we get on. I saw we dropped probably 2 or 3 callers, maybe 4, I'm not sure. But we apologize to anybody we didn't get on. Next week, depending on schedules, we'll probably do a couple shows because free agency gets so crazy that we'll try to do instant reactions. Be sure to check us out on YouTube. Let's Talk Jets Radio on YouTube. We'll definitely have videos if we don't do a show. Instagram and Twitter at Talk Jets Radio. YouTube, Let's Talk Jets Radio. Check out Let's Talk Mental Health. We're on, what the hell is it called? Spreaker, iTunes, Apple Play, Google Play, all that stuff. And Joe, it has been chaos for almost 3 hours. It is your time to shine.
Yeah. Yes, listen, man. I'm the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote our Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search Let's Talk Jets Radio. Like that page. Our content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message us. We'll message you right back. We love going back and forth with folks about this football team. Also, leave us some feedback. We love hearing about what you folks think we do here on Let's Talk Jets Radio. I'm also on Twitter as well at YoungJ000. That's 3 zeros. Go ahead and follow me. I'll follow you right back. You want to troll me? No issues. I am the troll that lives under the bridge. I will have my Darnold jersey on, and we can go back and forth. I'm also on YouTube as well at YoungJ00. That's 2 zeros on YouTube, 3 on Twitter. I do weekly videos. I'll continue to go on. I'll talk about the Jets. I'll also talk about, other stuff as well on my past videos during the season. I do weekly pick-em, so please subscribe to my content on there as well. And if you want to troll me on there as well, no issues. I am the troll that lives under the bridge, and I will troll you there too, so no problems at all. hit me up and we'll exchange. We'll go back and forth. And as always, people, when you see me in person, okay, it is arms out. Oh, my goodness. You try it every time, man. You try to separate me from the people. It was complete chaos at the end of the show. They didn't buy you, though, man. They didn't buy you. They didn't believe what you were saying. We have people stepping up and stepping in and giving their hot takes, man. You can't separate me from the people, Tyson. You cannot do it. Listen, when you folks see me in person, it is arms out, chest open, hugs for everyone, okay? These hugs will cost you absolutely nothing. Do not let Tyson Rouse separate me from you. Those are lies. I do not take money for hugs. My hugs will always remain free. They will always be free. I want to thank you folks for listening. Without you people, we're absolutely nothing. Thank you for taking the times out of your day to call in and listen to us. You folks are the absolute best.
Enjoy your weekend. Free agency is next week. We'll do our best to do shows. If not, we'll do videos on Let's Talk Jets Radio on YouTube, and we'll talk to you then.